Hey y'all. Thank you, Swoop. Hey Miss Key. How y'all doing today? This old Georgia girl up here. I'm just gonna talk about a little Black history. Over here I talk about health, entertainment, anything that impact us, I talk about over here. And we know, good to see everybody. Thank you for the raid. We know that February is Black History Month, and I want to know, how well do y'all know y'all history? So you can look at your phones. I'm gonna ask a couple of questions about Black history. If you know the answer, you can put it in the chat. But look, I'm the bootleg school teacher. Y'all know how we used to be at school, and we have our history lessons and stuff like that. Can I get some apples in the chat? Can y'all give me some apples? Just think of me and y'all history teacher. How many of y'all remember y'all history teacher? Ooh, y'all. My history teacher was so hard. That was one course I was glad to get out of. How many of y'all tell the truth? I want y'all to be honest about it now. I want y'all to be honest. How many of y'all really paid attention in history class? How many of y'all really paid attention in history class? Can I get some apples in the chat? I'm y'all history teacher today. I'll be sharing some things about Black history. Thank y'all. Hey, Buddha, did you get that cash app I sent you? Tell the truth. How many of y'all like y'all history class? I'm being honest. That was one course I did not like, but if we sit back and think about y'all, all the stuff we should have been paying attention to in school, we should have been paying more attention to. Like some of the things that we know that have impacted our lives of Black history. I'm going to read some stuff and then I'm going to ask some questions. I want to know, how well do you know your history? How well do you know about Black history? Buddha, did you have a history teacher? Did you like your history teachers? Just think of me as being your history teacher today. And of course, I have these shirts in my shop. These are some Black history shirts. I didn't design this shirt maybe, I think, a year ago, but these are just regular t-shirts. I have Black history on the front of them. Y'all can check out I had to give you the link to this shirt here. I got like 2 or 3 designs in there. And thank y'all for the swoop raid. How many of y'all, tell the truth, Buddha, did you pay attention in class? Were you a teacher's pet? How many of y'all was teacher's pet? Now that history class. Hey, Evan, welcome. You didn't take history class? Today I'm just sharing some things about Black history. We don't realize things that we need to know and things that we should have been paying attention in school. It does impact our lives today. How many of y'all know what Rosa Parks did? You can look at your phone. She had an impact on us, and she still have an impact on us today. How many of y'all know why they call Rosa Parks the mother of the movement, civil rights movement? Y'all can look at your phones. You can look it up. What did Rosa Parks do to impact the world, y'all? You can put it in the chat, and I'll put it on the panel. Do y'all know who Rosa Parks is? They call her the mother of the civil rights movement. I've been sharing different information about Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King, different people. Y'all can Google if you have to. So what impact did Rosa Parks have on us today? What did she do, y'all? What did she do? You said, Buddha, you said I drew every day and stayed in the back of history. Do you wish you had paid attention to your history class now? Y'all give me some apples. Y'all know the teachers like apples now. I'm the bootleg teacher now. Can I get me some apples? maybe some grapes. I eat grapes too. So you got some apples and grapes? Send me some, please. Welcome in, Evan. Are you new? I'm your host, of course, and this is Black History Month, and I have been sharing different things about it. Okay. Hello. Thank you for the raid. The question is, what did Rosa Parks, what was her impact on the world? What did she do to make things better for us? What did she do, y'all? Y'all can Google her. Buddha already said she wasn't paying attention in history class. I took history class when I was in social studies at Scott High School. I passed every single one of my tests. That's great. Hey, Eric, good to see you. My question is, what impact and what did Rosa Parks do for us, y'all? What impact did Rosa Parks leave for us? She paved the way for us to do what? Okay, Miss Key was saying, we can sit anywhere on the bus now. That's right. What did she do? She refused to give up her seat. She refused to give up her seat, y'all. This is our history, y'all. This is our history. Thank you. Y'all make sure y'all make Evan feel welcome. He is new here. Thank you, Evan. And he said he passed all his history class. And thank you for my apples, Miss Key. I'm the bootleg teacher today, y'all. So make sure you give your teacher some apples. Yes, Rosa Parks, she did a lot for us, y'all. She sat on that bus. They tried to, they intimidated her, but she didn't give in. She didn't give in, and that's a big impact on us today. We was able to sit, like Miss Key said, we can sit where we want. Let somebody try that stuff right now. Hold on, y'all. I got a phone call. I'm back. Today I'll be asking some questions. I just want to know, how well do you know your history? How well do you know the impact of what Black history did for us today? Like Rosa Parks. Do you think that people can get away with what Miss Rosa Parks got away with today? We're not playing that now. We don't have to sit at the back of the bus now, y'all. We can sit in the front of the bus. We can sit wherever we want. But Miss Rosa Parks did that for us. Miss Rosa Parks did that for us. She refused to give up her seat. I'm gonna ask the question, Evan, Miss Kill, whoever in my chat. If you was on that bus with Rosa Parks, would y'all would have did what she did? Be honest. I know back then it was segregated. Black had to sit on one side, white had to sit on one side. But what y'all would have stood with Miss Rosa Parks? How many of y'all would have stood with Miss Rosa Parks back in the day? Because I was reading the story about a lot of the people got up. She was not afraid, y'all. Miss Rosa Parks was not afraid. And that's the impact she have had on us. That my message from her is, don't let nobody push you over. Stand up for yourself. Stand up for yourself. She know that it was going to be a whole big chaos. She know it was going to cause a riot. It caused a lot of things. I was able to go see the Rosa Parks Museum, y'all, in Montgomery. It moved me so much. And y'all, if you're in Montgomery, Alabama, y'all need to check out that museum, because that museum showed step by step about what happened to her. It was some more colored people, Black people, African American people on the bus, but they was afraid. They was afraid to stay in their seat. They was afraid to stay in their seat. She had refused to get up, y'all. Okay. Evan said, I don't think anybody can get away with it, what it's like. Now we think about these juveniles and how many police officers have to arrest them, and for the fact that I am a captain of, for real? Oh my God, I got a captain of the police in here, y'all. Wow. I know you probably can. Oh, I know you probably see a little bit all. And, like I said, a lot of things have changed for the good, and a lot of things we still got a long way to go. Y'all make sure y'all welcome Evan in the chat. He said he's new. He's a police officer. Y'all be good. Nah. We don't want to be giving out no citations today, y'all. Of course, I am the host on this channel. Like I said, I do a lot of wellness. I try to talk and I try to treat people the way I want to be treated. I try to lift others along with me. I share things about my own real life experience. And what I do, I try to bring a lot of education to the things that I'm sharing. I never put out something that I wouldn't do or I wouldn't eat or I wouldn't like, because I'm thinking about not only myself, I think about others too. So you probably see a lot of things on my channel about health. I'm trying to stick with this wellness journey. Like I said, I deal with a lot of health issues, but I thank God that I'm not where I used to be, but I'm still got a ways to go on some things that I've been praying to get better at. Wow. Let me see. I would love for you to come on my panel, and if you could share some things that I know you, like you said, I know you're a police officer and you can't just talk about any cases, but if you could come up here and talk about some things that you have seen that you wish could be better, wish could be better now, but I know you have seen a lot of bad things. And I know you probably can relate to how those police officers were out there when those people were doing those marches. Because I was reading about when Martin Luther King was out there marching, Rosa Parks, a lot of the others. It was police on duty. They was fighting the people back and stuff like that. I'm telling you now, these days, people are fighting back. They are really fighting back. They're not just being pushovers right now. Let me try to go back to your let's see. He said, I would have stood with Rosa Parks totally if that's a tuition. One of them words. Yes. I had said if I was there, yes, I would have been scared. I would have been scared, but if she had more people to stand with her, but she really didn't need nobody. She did it on her own. She did it on her own. And this showed me that we have some strong women out here, y'all. We does have some strong women out here. That's why I said she paved the way for a lot of us. I know a lot of people doesn't like Kamala Harris. I mean, they have their issues with I'm not a politician. I don't speak on it a lot, but she is part American. I mean, African American, and I think she got any or something. But she was the first lady vice president, and that shows me that right now women can lead. Women can lead. And they had to follow that example from Rosa Parks. If y'all can get what I'm saying. Rosa Parks sought the way for us women. Stand up. Yeah, we love our men, but hold up, y'all. My phone is just busy today. So that's what I'm talking about today, y'all. All right, Buddha. That's what I'm talking about today. The impact that our Black history have had on our culture. Y'all don't look at it. There's a lot of women empowered today. We have Black women in politics. And Rosa Parks did set that way for us. She stood there for us. She sat in that seat for us to be able to walk those streets with our heads up. You know? Yes, I think we always have a long way to go. The things that we have to do to keep these kids in school and teach. I would love for you to come on a panel, Eric, Evan. I'm gonna drop my link if you want to just maybe try to uplift, maybe say some inspiring words to some. If you have time, I'm gonna put my link in. If you want to come up and share some inspiring words, because I does have a son, and I'm telling you, every time my son go out that door, I be scared. I shouldn't be, but I feel, and you can elaborate on this if you able to, but I know you are an officer, and I know certain things you probably could say, and there might some things you could say. For me, having a Black son, I'd be scared. I'm just being honest. I feel, with all the things have happened in the world, I think our Black guys are being targeted. I know you are a police officer. I'm trying to put my link in here. I know you're a police officer, and you have, I know you can't be prejudiced against nobody because you have made that vow to help people no matter what color they are. I was trying to drop my link, but it seemed like it don't want me to drop it. Let me see. But yes, I'd be scared for my son. My son is in the entertainment business. He got his own, he works, but he also does entertainment, like rapping on the side. That's his hobby. And he'd be like different places. He'd be in different places performing and things like that. And I'd be scared. I'm not saying you're like that, but some of these police officers might target our young men. I'm just being honest. But if you could come up and you got something you want to say about the impact Black history had made on your life, or if you want to share some things about, about Black history in general, if you have time. And I welcome you to my chat. Anybody want to come up and talk about how Black history impact our culture? I started out with Rosa Parks because the way she moved and the way she did for us, she paved the way for us women, whether we want to believe it or not. The way she did, even her own family probably questioned her. Why didn't she get up? She was brave. She was a brave lady. So I salute her. I honor her for the things she did that day. So if anybody want to come up and talk about what impact Black history has done to our culture, like I would love for Evan to come up and share something if he's able to. He just said he's a captain of the police. So y'all be good down in that chat now. He probably working, but I'm gonna continue to keep talking about the impact that Black history has had on our lives. How did they come up with giving us that day? They fought for us to have Black History Month. They fought for us to be off on Martin Luther King birthday. They fought for being off on June 19th. All of these things is our history. All these things are our history. And of course, we have had our first Black president. I know a lot of people not an Obama fan. I did vote for him. He stayed in office, 8 years. I guess he did what any president was able to do. You know, like I said, I'm not a politician. I don't get into the politician talk. But I did vote for him, and he made history by becoming the first Black president. So I applaud him for that. Like Evan said, we have came a long way, but we still have a long way to go. But why not honor the people that have paved these ways for us? Who would have thought it would have been a Black president? Did anybody would have thought that? But it happened. A Black first lady, a Black vice president. All of these things, this is our history, everybody. Whether we want to acknowledge these people, that is part of our history, and they have made the world, like young children coming up now, like your son, my grandson. If they want to be president, they can be president. We should advise, we should lift our children up to tell them they can be whatever they put their heart and mind to do. Always tell your children, always tell them, like when they playing their basketball games. I tell my grandson all the time, he like, Grandma, we didn't win today. We didn't win it. I said, but give it time. I tell him, so you have to lose in order to win sometimes. You have to lose in order to win. I said, because you didn't win this game today, that don't mean you're not going to win all season. Sometimes you have to lose to win. And I think about all the people that have went through all these riots for us, paved the way for us to be able to vote, paved the way where we could be able to segregate, sit in a restaurant with everybody. It ain't like that no more, y'all. It ain't like Black here, white there. We all supposed to be as one now, but it's still some rotten apples out there. It's still some rotten apples out there, but we D-Day, we're not playing what they did back in those days. You can't come up and tell me to get out my seat now. You can't do that. In 2024, you cannot tell a Black person, look, we want you to let Miss Sue sit right here. You got to move. That ain't happening. That's not happening. You hear me? No, no way. But it's still some prejudice out here, y'all. It's still some prejudice out here. And I would never teach my children, my grandchildren, to be prejudiced toward no one. I would not teach them to be that way because I was not raised in that way. I was not raised in that way. But back then, my mom, I had to have to sit there and talk to my mom about they used to pick cotton and things they had to do to make a living. We don't realize how blessed we really are. People don't have to work in the fields like that now. People don't have to work in the fields now. No matter right now, my mom is not able to work. She's got health issues, but I think about those days. She said she used to be out there in that hot sun. And you know how you been worked so hard out there, you get those calluses in your hand. And those are marks. Those calluses are those marks to show those scars, to show your battlefields of what you had to do to provide for your family. Thank God for my mom. She did it for a little while until things started to change where she was able to do some work. But things are not like they used to be, but we still got a ways to go. I think about my grandma, how she said she used to get out there and cut down that cane. Y'all ever heard of cane? I don't know who in my chat. They used to have to cut down cane in the field, pick cotton, and pick so many buckets and bushes and go out and sell to make ends meet for the children. Hold on. That's what I'm talking about today, y'all. The impact of our Black history. You know, y'all probably say, "Oh, she's just all over the place," but I'm only speaking on what I know, what's been happening. I'm only speaking on what I know been happening. We got Black poets like Maya Angelou. I love her poems. I love how she reached across the board to everybody. She did movies, she did poems. I think she even did a record. I'm not sure, but it's good to know our history, y'all. It's good to know our history. You sit back and think about the things that our parents and grandparents had to go through to pave the way for us. I talked about Rosa Parks. I talked about we having a Black president, but if had a Black president, y'all, a Black first lady, we have a Black vice president. Did we think all those things could be possible? If we look back at the things that our parents had to go through to get to where we're at today, we ought to be saluting. We ought to be giving them their flowers. You know what I'm saying? Give people their flowers. I believe in giving people their flowers. Over here, you get your flowers over here. I'm fixing to read. I don't know who's in my chat, but if you're coming back watching my show, just remember to give me a thumbs up. And thank you, Swoop, for the raid y'all did. I does appreciate y'all. But I was trying to see what Evan was able to come. He probably on duty. It was good to have a real live police officer in my chat. Thank you. I hope you come back. Maybe another time you can come up and introduce yourself. And I'm sure I was trying to see that you have a channel so I can make sure I connect with you. Trying to take that down right quick. But I'm fixing over here. I like to read. I like to present things. I'm all about lifting myself along with others. And if you follow me, you know that I don't do drama. I don't try to attack no one. If it ain't positive, I don't want to deal with it. Like I said, I have my own issues. So I'm just going to read how they say, how did Black history influence our Black culture? Black culture influence on America culture doesn't end with its contributions. We have musicians out here. They have made impacts on the world. People that in fashion, that's with fashion. They have made, we have Black designers, Black music artists. We look at those things that our people have done and have paid the way for others. Let's see if Lord, this phone just been busy today. Hello? It seems like when you be live, everybody want to talk. Everybody got so much to say. But that's what I was bringing for today about our history and how had it impact our culture. A lot of people don't like to hear this kind of talk. A lot of people don't feel like this is interesting to them. But look, it's good to know your history. It's good to know your history. It's good to know who's have paved the way for you. Martin Luther King, he did have a dream. He had a dream, y'all. He fought it for us. He fought it for us for years. He was out there boycotting along with Rosa Parks. He did a lot for. He had a dream that we all come together. Yeah, we have Black hairstylists. Black musicians, fashion designers, a lot of things. And we have to think about a lot of those things couldn't have happened without the people that paved the way for us. Thank you. That's right. We does have black hair designers. Let's see something. And that is so true. Here's the story behind Black History Month and why it's celebrated in February. Every February, the United States honors the contribution and sacrifice of African Americans who have helped shape the nation. Black History Month celebrates the rich culture, heritage, triumphs, and adversities that are an undeniable part of our country history. The theme this year is Black Health and Wellness. That is the theme for Black History Month this month. You see, I've been sharing some things on my channel. I try to stick to things. Hey, Terry, how you doing? I try to stick with things that I think will help. Today, I'm just sharing some things about the impact that Black history have on our culture. If anybody want to come up and share some things, how you see Black history has impacted your life or impacted the world, because it has. Pays a homage to medical schoolers and health providers. Because you know what, y'all don't realize those nurses and doctors, they deserve their flowers, because those people, including my daughter, they stood out there through all of that COVID area. What? When that COVID first came out, those nurses, some of those nurses was on call just like that, y'all. Some of those nurses was on call. And my daughter, I can tell you, she went to work every day on that, and she stood on that front line, helping those people with COVID. When that first COVID first hit, and y'all know, a lot of us, we couldn't go nowhere, but those nurses still went to work, y'all. And it was a lot of Black nurses. We have a lot of African American Black nurses out here. Hey, well, Wellness, good to see you. We have a lot of Black American nurses, African American nurses in the world, y'all. Get old people their flowers. Rosa Parks, all those people that paved the way for us, they paved the way. Everybody that's out here now that doing something now, those people back in the day paved the way for us. So I have to give people their flowers. I have to give those teachers, those nurses, I have to give them their flowers. Can we put some flowers in the chat, y'all? Let's lift our teachers and our nurses up. Those teachers have to be patient with our kids. They have to be patient with our kids every day. Those nurses have patient. I always wanted to be a teacher. That was one of my dreams, to be a teacher. I wasn't able to be one. That's why I talk about a lot of stuff on my channel. I read a lot. I do a lot of things over here because I try to help educate myself more. Yeah, I'm just talking about the impact that Black history has had on our culture. I'm asking you a question, Wellness and Terry. Do y'all think there's a lot of people in Black history have made an impact on us today? Do y'all agree that Black history has made an impact on our world today? It has. It really has. I'm thinking about Rosa Parks, Harriet Tubman, all the people that she saved and that was out there trying to get away from those people, that was holding them slaves and hostages and all this kind of stuff. You can't get nobody to do this now. You cannot. Now people still do that. People do still try to hold people against their will and think they can do that. But I guarantee you would not get a person at their seat. Just for instance, Frugal Mom, I'm just gonna say, if you go to a restaurant, right, Frugal Mom, if you go to Cheddar's or any your favorite restaurant and it's packed, right? And they're gonna come to you and say, Miss Frugal Mama, or they'll probably know your name. They might say, well, we got a dinner here today, and y'all gonna have to, you may have to give up your seat. You're not gonna give up your seat. I know you would, because I would. Rosa Parks paid the way for us, y'all. This is 2024. Ain't nobody gonna give up their seat unless they might help the home, somebody that disabled, that they know probably need a seat. But you're not gonna just give up your seat because of your color or their color. All that been played out, but we know it's still prejudice out here in the world. It's still some prejudice out here. But the point I'm trying to say, we have came a long way, but we still got a long way to go. So we have to salute our leaders. We have to salute those women that stood out there to make sure we was able to vote. How do you think you're able to vote in your town, in your hometown? How do you think you're able to vote? Because we had people out there marching on the streets, making sure that we are able to voice our opinion. That's why it's good to put, if you're not registered to vote in your hometown, register to vote. Your voice does matter. If you see a lot of things going on in your community, that's what your vote supposed to be for. Your vote supposed to count. If your children are not being treated well in school, that's what we got the Board of Education for. Vote that person out. Your voice means a lot. Your voice means a lot. Those that have fought for us, stood out there in that hot sun with those picket signs, being knocked down, marching up and down those streets. Some of them didn't even have a decent pair of shoes, y'all, but they was out there. Y'all need to think about this stuff now. Think about the people that walked that paved, that dirt roads, that highway. I was looking at the movie Selma, Alabama. I was looking at that movie. It just brought me to tears. You know, you look at that movie, and this is reality, y'all. They did that. They did that. They walked with Martin Luther King. They walked with Rosa Parks. They did all those things for us to be where we're at today. They did all those things. So look, today is a little history class. So can I get some apples, y'all? I'm y'all history teacher. I don't know if y'all like y'all history teacher in school. My history teacher, I see him now, y'all. I be seeing Mr. David now. Every time I see him, I think about all those tests I couldn't pass. But I wished I should have paid more attention. I passed the class, but y'all know when you be in history class, like some people die. Probably looked over here at my teleprompter. I don't want to hear that. But I'm glad I did pay attention to some of the things that I did learn in my class, because it's reality today. It's reality today. The things Martin Luther King did, the things Rosa Parks did. We was taught all those things. Think about all the times you saw your grandma talking about she was out there in the cotton field. Hey, welcome in. How you doing? Think about all the times that your mom and granddad used to be out there. Your granddad used to be out there in the field, had to chop down those cane bushes. And I was just talking about how I used to sit and see my grandma, right? The cane, right? Y'all know what sugar cane is, right? See, I'm old school. How many of y'all know what sugar cane is? Oh, do they still sell that? How many of y'all know what sugar cane is? How many of y'all know what sugar cane? Y'all know what sugar cane is? It's I wouldn't say it's a fruit or a plant, or what is sugar cane? Let me look at it real quick. How many of y'all know what sugar cane is? And that is one of the hard thing to eat. You better have no false teeth trying to eat it. Do y'all know what sugar cane is? I used to see my grandmother. How many of y'all know what sugar cane? Let me tell y'all what sugar cane is. If you don't know what sugar cane is, it's a plant. It's a plant. I don't know if y'all can see it on my phone. But this is one of the hardest to me now. Growing up back in it, because I born in 69. I ain't ashamed. I'm 55 years old. And I can remember when my grandmama now used to get one of those little hasher things. You did. They still sell it. They still sell it. Wow. Next time I go to Panama, I'm gonna have to check that out. But Marie what Terry said, you take voting very serious because of Black history, and my father and daddy taking to the polling location and watching him vote. Yes. Oh, is it? Yeah, it's that was one of the hardest. I'm telling y'all, that was one of the hardest things to get into, but it was good. But what I'm saying, my grandma now used to chop them down. They used to chop them. I used to see how they used to peel them. They would like get them and sell them, or they would just give us some. But now people don't have to be. We all equal in my white. Amen. We are sisters and brothers. But we have had people to pave that way for us, fish. Our ancestors, like Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, they paved that way for us. When people come to my channel, I don't see color. You know what I see? I see a child of God. I see my brother or sister. I don't discriminate over here at all. If you blue, yellow, green, long you come in my chat being respectful to me or anybody on my panel, we fine. And if anybody want to come up and share some things about how they feel Black history have impacted the world or impact our lives. I had talked about what Rosa Parks had did, what Martin Luther King, because I did share some videos on them, because this is Black History Month. I'm going to drop the link if anybody want to come up and talk about the impact that Black history have on us. Voting is very important. I tell my children, make sure they be registered, because your voice needs to be heard. Your voice need to be heard, but someone had to fight for us to get the vote. Y'all remember when they was talking about it was hard to vote? If you don't voice your opinion these days, if you don't voice your opinion in your community or go to your city hall or governor's bill, wherever you go, if you don't voice your opinion, they're going to do what they want to do. That's why it's important. It's important that we vote. It's important that we voice our opinions. Like when you're at church, you know, when they get ready to vote your preacher out. Maybe you have your reason to vote your preacher out, but your voice have to be heard. Anybody want to come up and share some of the history that have impacted us? Like I said earlier in my show, we was able to have a Black president, whether we liked it, Obama or not. He was our first Black president. Whether we like Kamala Harris or not, she's also was a Black vice president. You know what I'm saying? I know it. And thank you for supporting. And I don't have a problem. Like I have a lot of people like whites, subscribers. I don't discriminate. I think you are. We're all one on my channel. We're all one. I call y'all Georgia what troopers. I have members over here. They're members. If you ain't a member, I still consider you as a trooper. You're connected to my channel. That's what I just call the people over here troopers. But in my state, a Georgia trooper is a state patrol. That's what the Georgia troopers stand over here in Georgia. It's the state patrol. So anybody want to come up? Terry, you want to come up and share some of the impact you feel like you want to talk about the vote? How did voting impact your life? Good to see you. And it's good. Let's support everybody. It doesn't matter what, like I said, long as you're respectful to me and anybody that be on my panel, we're good to go. And you respect in my chat. You know, respect goes a long way. If y'all want to type, want your link to drop, type troopers. And if you want to connect with some of my members, You do see their channels are being dropped. I appreciate everybody for coming over. Our history is very important, y'all. We was taught a lot of this stuff in school. We was also taught a lot in church. We was taught a lot of these things in church also. We was taught to love one another. God said, forgive as I have forgave you. I know a lot of people don't like to forgive. You know, we watch these movies now. We see a lot of these movies that how things were back in the day. They make us angry. But those are some things our ancestors went through in order for us to be where we're at today. If anybody want to come up and talk about the impact that Black history had for us, and thank you, Fisherman, for sharing that. He said he support Black channels. He support Black channels, and over here, it ain't no colors for me. It's only if your respect. I look at your respect in my chat. That is one of the main things I preach over here on my channel. Be respectful. If you green, blue, or yellow, but you ain't not gonna come in here being disrespectful. We give you the boot over here. And that moderator, we give you the boot. But yes, I want my members to know that I does appreciate them. Any of my moderators. And I also give flowers over here. These roses for everybody that came in my chat today. We all deserve our flowers. That's why I'm talking about Black History Month. Martin Luther King, Harriet Tubman, Rosa Parks, Madam C. Walker. A lot of I'm sharing those videos on my channel now. You can go back and watch some of the things that I shared. And y'all don't know, it was a lot of Black inventors out there. I think I shared that video yesterday. I need for y'all to check out some of those videos. We had a lot of people, and I didn't know a lot of Black people invented a lot of things. After doing research, we had a Black man to invent the remote control. Hey, Tamika, we had a Black lady to invent the ironing board. If you do your research, you can find a lot of things where people paved the way for us. And that's what I'm doing on my channel. I'm honoring Black History Month. I'm honoring people that paved the way for us. And I just want to know, what impact did it have on our lives? I already spoke on what Rosa Parks did. I asked the question earlier. If you was back with Rosa Parks, would y'all would have stood up with her? For what y'all know now that she went through, would y'all would have stood with Rosa Parks? Just be honest. I know a lot of people like to just say, well, I'm minding my own business. But just think about if you're in Rosa Parks' shoes. And if you know the Rosa Parks story, I'm gonna read some. Hey Terry, how you doing? You know, I read over here. Give me some apple, y'all. I'm y'all history teacher today. Can I get some apples in the chat? You wouldn't have stood with her. You wouldn't have stood with her. That was the question I was asking. If you was in Rosa Parks' shoes, what you would have did what she did? Be honest. Frugal Mama said she probably would not call. Back then, it was so segregated. Black was on one side, white was on one side. But Rosa Parks was real brave, y'all. She was a brave lady, and she paved the way for us. She paved that way for us. Oh, I understand. Just come by when you can. I understand. Fugal Mama said, I'm very non-conforming. It's hard to say. That's true. Yes, it is hard to say. Yeah, Madam C. Walker. Yeah, she was an entrepreneur. She paid the way. She was one that like business owner. And you're right, Fugal Mama. It's hard to say because we would want to be doing the right thing, but then A lot of folk that was on that bus didn't move. A lot of folk did move, but Rosa Parks did not. She was brave. And she thought about all the consequences. She knew what was going to happen to her. But
You
she
were so loud, I had to mute myself. What?
What wrong? Terry, everything okay? Hold on. Mute yourself, Terry. We got to hear what you got going on right there. But do what I say too, Figure Mama. In a way, I think I would have tried. I would have wanted to help her, but it just all depends. It just all depends because they was arresting people, and people probably couldn't afford to go. She had to get bond out. It ain't like they just, she that went there to talk. They arrested her. They fingerprinted her. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's true. That's true. That is so true. I got Terry up. I'm gonna see what he have to say about how Black history played an impact on our lives.
Yeah, because
you able to speak? Tell everybody who you is again. I'm sure they know who you are.
Yeah, because I am associate minister, reserve deacon, Sunday school teacher, mass choir member, and male chorus member of New Bethel Church and Outreach Ministry, 1065 West Range Road, Memphis, Tennessee, 38109.
Yeah, okay. So how have Black history impact our culture? Can you just name a couple of things that have changed for the better for us? Name some of the things right off your mind. What do you think? I know we was talking about voting. Why do you think voting is so important?
Because I did a study years ago and I asked myself, how would I make $1 million? And I came up through research, found there's 4 avenues to making $1 million. You know what they are?
Oh, okay.
The first one is, business.
Mm-hmm.
The second is, government. The third is law. And the fourth is education.
Yes, absolutely.
I'll go outside.
No, you're not.
What?
No, you're not.
I'm going. You said I was too loud.
I'm gonna tell you going outside. Get back in the house.
Niggas.
Everything okay, Terry? Just come back when you are able to come back, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Because what I'm saying is the first is, business. People, go into business to make money.
Mm-hmm.
The second is government. Why do you think a lot of people go into, government from being in business? If they know how to make the law, they know how to break the law.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So
then you got education. That's basically the third. That's where a person goes to, a college to get a skill. Even a person who, a basketball player or a football player, they have to go to college, most of them, in order to be seen by professional scouts.
That's true. That's true. So let me ask you a question.
And then you have fourth, which is the law, because once a person knows how a law is created, they know how to influence people who write the law. That's why you have lobbyists in Washington. So if you're gonna make $1 million, there's 4 ways. There's business, law, government, and education, and that's why people in the past fought so hard for the right to vote, because if you have control of who makes the law, you can set it up to where it's just better in your favor. If you know who actually executes the law, you have a better chance of getting justice. So that's why voting is so vitally important. because because most people in power know if you can put a
Get the hell up
gas.
out of here, all that noise. Go on back in there. Because if you see the girl and these kids sick and sleep,
Hello, Terry. Just come back when you can.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
You heard me, Terry.
Yes, ma'am.
Just come back when you're able to come back, you know. Are you able to talk right now, or just come back, you know, you where you can talk, you know, and just mute yourself when people in the background go, you know, we don't want people hearing stuff. But I did hear her say you was too loud. Is you in an area where you can be? If not, just come back when you can. I understand. You know, you my guy over here. You know, you're always welcome on the panel, but you know, cause my little children in the room. That's why I wasn't going live earlier, cause they were. Ooh, I know how them children be. They in that room watching cartoon. I'm looking at them, so they quiet right now. You still on, Terry? He'll come out when he's can talk, y'all. And thank you, because that's what I'm about over here, Butter Roll. I try to put out things that is reality, things that we need to. You okay, Terry? Anybody else want to come up and share some
Yes,
things?
ma'am.
The impact of Black history. And thank y'all. Make sure y'all give me that thumbs up now. If you're able to share me out. Like I said, I read a lot over here. I'm all about lifting, not tearing down. You could check my videos about what I'm about over here. You know, I'm just that kind of person, whether I'm talking about myself, but majority of the time I'm talking about myself over here, about the things that I have overcome, the things that I'm still struggling with. But I know there are people out there going through worse things that I am and others are. So that's what we're here to make sure we continue to do what we can to help one another. I'm reading. Thank you for liking this slide. You said we never need to forget the importance. That's right. Anybody else want to come up?
Yeah.
He said Trump laws called number one could influence him or bribe him. He didn't need bribes. Okay. All right, then. I'm sorry. I didn't vote for Trump. It looked like he's gonna be in it again. Like I said, I don't talk politics over here, but I does share my insight on it. All thing I say, whoever they get in the office, just do right by people. It doesn't matter who it is, what color they are. Do your job. Do your job. If you here for the people, be for the people. You know, that's just the bottom line. You know, I voted for Biden last time. I know I'm gonna vote for somebody this time, but a lot of people are with Trump. A lot of people are with Joe Biden, but a lot of people was not with our first Black president. We was able to have a first Black president. Whether people give him credit for anything, it's just the acknowledgement that we was able to have a Black president. Mute yourself, Terry, down if you got people in the background, okay? But yes, get back to voting. So when you found out that you was able to vote, you took advantage of it, didn't you, Terry? You was able to vote.
What I'm saying is every single time, because my daddy made sure we knew the importance of voting, because he took us around to the Westwood Community Center every time they had an election, and he made sure to let us know that people fought for the right to vote. People, died for the right to vote. And think about this: if somebody is denying you something that's a constitutional right, then we need to stand up because we must remember we're the right to vote for colored people and people different ethnicities isn't actually protected by the Constitution. It's basically protected by two civil rights bills that have to be renewed every so often. The Civil
Mhm.
Rights Bill of 1964 and the Civil Rights Bill of 1968. They're acts. And when something is
Yeah,
an
I'm looking
act,
at it now. I'm looking at
it's
it now.
not permanent in law. An act has to be renewed every so often. So one of the things they were talking about with the Supreme Court recently was how jury districts, voting districts were set up
Mhm.
in the South. So we have to remember our right to vote as African Americans and other minorities has to be renewed every year. The
Yes.
question we need to ask the government is, why is our right to vote only an act and not a law?
And that's the question in the chat. Do y'all think voting is important? After we done seen how people have fought and paid the way for us. Because let me read to y'all. Like I said, we're doing history today, y'all.
Just girl, but
We're
do you
doing some
understand the
history
difference
today.
between an act and a law? An act is something that is temporary. A law is something that is permanent. Our right to vote isn't permanent in the Constitution. It has to be renewed every so often. And when they renew our right to vote, they can make subtle changes over time.
Yes. Like a lot of people be complaining about the gun laws, the uh, all the things that are happening in their communities. That's what you'll vote for. That's why you put these people in office. That's why you got those governors in office. That's why you got those sheriffs and deputies or however. You can vote those people out if they're not doing their job. They have city council over here all the time. Like I live in this small town, and there's a lot of things that need to be changed over here. And they do. Do y'all have like city hall meeting? And do y'all do that in y'all communities? Like when things like for instance, a lot of people over here complain about their water bill. A lot of people complain about their water bill because of the city is not doing what they supposed to do to make sure that people are getting their water. To me, seem like instead of them trying to change, they're making their bills getting higher and higher. That's what you vote for. You're a citizen. If you don't like what's going on in your community, vote them out. Vote them out. They have city hall over here. Sometimes I hate to say it, we have those crooked people trying to lead stuff. Vote them out. Like I said, a lot of people vote their preachers out because they feel like their preachers are not doing their job. They feel like the preachers are trying to gain instead of trying to teach. You know what I'm saying, Terry, right? You have
Yes,
those
ma'am.
right.
Because most churches have an annual church, business meeting. Attend the annual church business meeting.
Thank you, Butter Roll. Good to see you, my girl. But yes, let me read this right here. The civil rights icons such as Ida B. Wells, Martin Luther King Jr., and Fannie Lou Hamer was instrumental in laying the foundation for securing and maintaining the right to vote. African American accumulating in the passage of Voting Rights Act of 1965. They did that voting right in 1965.
Yeah.
Martin Luther King, Ida B. Wells, Fannie Lou Hamer, they laid the foundation. They laid the foundation. So they have made this impact for us. That's why we're able to do the voting we do. That's why we're voting out the president, getting new president, new secretaries of state, or however they go, governors. You have that voice. You have your voice now, but it was time people didn't want to vote because they felt like their voice was not heard. I'm reading that. Who fought for the women's rights? Okay, that was the National Woman Suffrage Association formed by Elizabeth Cady and Susan B. Anthony. There was in 1871 a petition to Congress requesting that the rights to extend to women be heard on the floor of Congress. See, that's what I'm saying. I know a lot of us probably don't watch news, and I watch it, but do y'all see now that it ain't just all men in office now? Can y'all see that? Can y'all see us a lot of women in office, a lot of women's on Congress, a lot of women in politics? Y'all see that, right? They let you know women can do the job just as good as a man. We have that opportunity to do it, y'all. Yes, we don't want to have the babies. We do a lot. I'm just gonna speak for the women. We carry these babies, but we also can hold down a job. I ain't knocking the men, but what I'm saying, things have changed for women these days. So I can hear women saying, "Nah, I can be bad by myself." Have you heard women say that? Oh, Terry,
Yes, ma'am.
you done heard women say they can be bad by themselves.
Yes,
Like
ma'am.
what Buddha? Like Buddha said, use your hand. Use your hand if you have to use your hand. But what I'm saying is that it ain't like it used to be. You know, like now, they always say that women supposed to stay in the kitchen. Not if they don't want to. It ain't where I know where women want to stay in the kitchen if they choose to be that way. These days, these women can go out there and drive a tractor. They driving these big trucks. They doing just as much as a man can do. Can I get an amen on that? We're doing just as much as the men. You be seeing women fighters. I be seeing these women out here boxing just like me. I'm like, hit me out, give me no jab. But it's some strong women out here, y'all. Having babies. I see some women sitting there having 2 and 3 babies at one time. We some strong women out here. We are. We ain't playing that. We ain't playing that.
You know, the message of God every day.
Women going back to school. They being independent. You hear what I'm saying? They are being independent. Yeah, we love our men, but the way things are set up now, women can be bad by themselves. Women can be bad. And I salute these single parents. I salute those single parents, those women that standing up for those no good fathers. I hate to say it here. I ain't talking about y'all guys today. So don't come in and get me now. But I'm saying, and I salute my daughter because she's a single parent. And I encourage her. I encourage my daughter every single day. She's an RN. She went back to school and she got all her degrees. She got everything she needs to be where she at. She was a very independent young lady. And I'm so proud of her. Even though she got 3 kids, that she did not let that stop her. I admire her frugal mama. I have seen her plenty nights on her show studying and doing things. You know, a lot of people always said, I wish I could have went back to school to took up more thing in business. And I wish I could have went further where I want to be was a teacher. You know, I should have let my health stop me. I should have let me get married stop me because you still can do these things. But you have to do these things in moderation. So I salute any woman that's out there providing, doing whatever they did to provide for their children, standing up in a man place where that man is not there. Y'all ladies, keep doing what you're doing. I love the women empowerment. So I'm saluting my sisters today. Keep going, ladies. Keep fighting. That's what Rosa fought for. That's what Madam C. Walker did. She was an entrepreneur. She was one of the richest women in Black history. I'm finna read up on it. I don't like to put out no wrong information, but we have a lot to be thankful for the impact that our ancestors and the civil rights leaders and everybody that fought paved the way for us. So we need
Yeah,
to
but we must remember the struggle is still going on.
yeah,
Because what I'm saying is like those two voting right acts, they are acts. Acts
mhm,
are temporary. Acts have to be renewed every so often, and we have to actively vote in order to get our our voting districts drawn correctly. Because if a lot of people don't vote, then they can redraw the jury districts in different ways. So you have to get
yeah,
out there and let the system know that you're an active voter, because
yeah.
the struggle's still going on with
Struggle is real.
with those acts being renewed every so often. The question that needs to be asked is, why isn't our right to vote something permanent and not something temporary that has to be renewed every so often?
I guess that's the law they made, but like I said, we know who paved the way for us. I can
Yeah,
remember seeing some of those. I read my history how those people was walking on that paved road. Someone even have a good pair of shoes, but they was out there, feet getting burned at the bottom, just out there trying to let their voices be heard. We think
yeah.
about those things. We think about those. I'm gonna tell y'all who Madam C. Walker was. Madam C. Walker was I gotta do a video on her. Madam C. Walker was an African American entrepreneur, philanthropist, and a political and social activist. She recorded entrepreneur. Look at my daughter trying to correct me. Entrepreneur, and she is recorded the first female self-made millionaire, y'all. American in the Guinness Book of Records. Wow. So that's what I was just saying. I mean, we love our men, but women can do just as much as these guys. She died. She was born in 1867, but she died in 1990. I'm gonna do a video on her. But she also was with the she had one child. She was an activist. And like I said, people like that paved the way for people like these business owners now. We look at all the business owners, black business owners that have came up and paved the way, and we have to think about those things. So can you recall some of the things that your parents used to say, how things were back then here that you
Yes,
see
ma'am. 'Cause
back
they
then are
always talked
different,
about
have
chopping
changed now?
cotton. Yeah, they talked about chopping cotton and sharecropping back in the
Mm-hmm.
day.
Yeah. See, a lot of people don't know what that is. A lot of people don't know what that is. I never picked cotton, but I used to hear my mom and grandma now, and I was talking about that cane, that sugar cane. Have you ever ate any sugar cane?
No, ma'am, but I had a whole lot of Delta cane, molasses made from sugar cane.
Mm-hmm. That used to be one of the hardest things to open up because they had like and Panama said she got some, not Panama, but Fuga Mama said she got some down there in Panama. I didn't think they still sell that. That is one of the can I look it up? That is one of the hardest. It's a plant, but it's sweet. And you usually have to cut it with a knife. It just like they peeled it, but it's real sweet now. I can remember as a child, my grandma know how to peel that cane. It just like how figs. I never liked figs, but I was brought up on fig preserves, and you know what that is?
Yes, ma'am. Because them sugar cane, molasses, and you get them biscuits. Man, I miss my mama biscuits.
Mm. Okay, I am. Yeah, I remember when my grandma used to hold up, Terry. Talk to the people for a minute. Just talk about some things about the impact of Black history.
Yeah, because Black history has a great impact, and like I said, we gotta pay attention. Coming up in the next couple of months because they have a renewal of those two Civil Rights Acts, the Civil Rights Act of 1965 and the Civil Rights Act of 1968 dealing with Voting Rights Act. We need to ask the question, why is the African American right to vote have to be renewed every so often, and it's not guaranteed in the Constitution? Because we must remember, an act is only for a certain period of time, and then it sunsets. And once the sunset date sets in, Congress must renew the act to keep it into law. It's like you have a tax act. You had tax acts that President Trump put into place, but those tax acts ran out and Joe Biden didn't actually renew the actual tax act. So a lot of tax advantages went away. So we have to be very conscious of when they, go through the renewal process, because they have a public review of, of those acts, and they ask for, people's input on how those acts can be improved. So we need to ask, why is the African American right to vote not permanently written into the law? It's an act that has to be renewed every so often in order to keep that right, active and available.
Thank you, Terry, for hold on. Thank you for that. Hold on. I had to get up and I've been drinking this lemon water, been having me going. So y'all been checking out my video. We're on day 4. It's just only just refreshing water. You can't drink stuff like a lot of people say they just don't like to put fruits in their water. Just drink plain water. Just make sure you drink plenty of water. That's the main thing. It helps with a lot. It helps with a lot. I'm trying to get back on camera.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing it. I heard you say something about Joe Biden and Trump. You know a little. You been following the politics and stuff like that. I mean, I see what's going on, but I never just like talk about it that much because I'm not familiar with the politics in that way. But I did hear you say something about the tax. What you say about the tax thing?
You have tax acts that different presidents pass, like certain tax laws. They're not enshrined in the law permanently. They're only granted temporarily. That's the main point. Anytime you see someone talk about a bill and it's an act, it's only for a set limited of time. When they pass a law, it's permanent unless another law overturns it. We don't have the permanent right to vote. We only have a temporary right to vote because our voting rights are in an act. It's not in the law.
Yeah, that's true. That is so true.
But do you understand the difference, Georgia girl, between an act and a law?
Yeah, I know when those act, they have to constantly keep signing it into law, right?
Exactly, because the act has what they call a sunshine date. Just like the sun goes down, act, once it reaches the sunset date, it must be renewed so it can have a sunrise.
Why you think they won't make it just permanent? They won't have to keep taking everything to Congress for everything.
You know what? Because they can change, your voting rights districts. They can change that with, each renewal of the law. They can change the number of senators you have in a particular, state over time.
Yeah.
So there are ways to manipulate the system by not making it a law.
That is so true. Yeah, this is what I was talking about right here. Let me see if I find it. So you already registered to vote for this year? I know you don't have to register. You have to register so many years, right? This is what I'm talking about right here.
Yeah.
This right here. You see that right there? Sugar cane. Do you remember that? You know what cane is? That's my daughter. You remember that cane? You see that picture right there?
Yes, ma'am.
That stuff used to be it used to be hard to get into. They used to be hard to get into.
Yeah.
You better have some good teeth. Have some good teeth to eat that. I ain't done it so long. I'm gonna have to go find me some. Panama said she seen some, and not Pat. He said Panama must be talking about me. I ain't talked to her in a while. Big Mama said she seen some in Panama City. I bet to tell Mickey, you know about that. Mickey, you don't know nothing about peeling that. I know you don't know nothing about that now. But I think now you can get it where this right here just bring back so many memories. I think now you can get it where they can cut it for you. It's a certain thing you can use to peel it. I just remember my grandma used to get that knife, and like you see what the top of it right here. It be so that's a hard shell right there. And they used to take that knife and it used to just peel it down, and that's how it looked right there. Those were the days. They was just like Canada. So you heard me tell.
Yes, ma'am. I remember that Dr. Cane syrup and them biscuits and some rice. You eating good.
What about the biscuits and the fat bite? That fat bite skin. You remember that? I know your dad.
Yes, ma'am.
It'd be like
yes, ma'am, because my mama stayed in the kitchen.
Did she? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So you know how to cook?
You want to go to the hospital?
Now you ought to stop. But you be reading and stuff. You ought to be able to cook.
What you want me to do? Tell you a sugar-coated lie or give you the honest truth?
Do you know how to? Hey, Brian. Good to see you. Well, do you know how to boil eggs?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, you can cook then. You boil, you cook what you want to eat. Put it like that. Yeah, Brian, we just talking about the history, Black history, how it has impacted our lives. And I was just speaking on this sugar cane right here. A lot of y'all don't know what this is, and this is what it looked like. I would say I remember when my mom used to cut it down. I remember the old little thing they used to use. It was like a place where they used to have it in the field, right? And this used to be this man come around and sell it. And I forget how much it was a stalk, but it used to be long stalks. And I think they would sell so many. And my grandma would always get some, or my mom. Like I said, it was just like candy. We were glad to get a little piece of cane. Because it's full of sugar. It is full of sugar. But anyway, just bringing back some history. That's all, y'all. That's what today is. It's like history class.
Yeah, and you know why the month of February was chosen as Black History Month? It was Frederick Douglass's birthday and the birthday of Abraham Lincoln. They were both born in February.
Yeah, I read that.
Yep.
I just had read it was that about him and Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you remember any of your history classes at school?
Yes, ma'am. Because I got an award. I won with the first Black radio station, WDIA in Memphis, Tennessee. They have an annual Black History, Knowledge Bowl every year. And when I was in junior high school, along with my friends Stephanie Campbell and Catherine Cox, we brought home the championship to the second year. We actually competed for Chickasaw Junior High School.
Oh, okay. So you was kind of. Do you consider yourself a smart? What's that? Do you consider yourself kind of smart in school? What you do? Have all A's, B's, or I know you act up sometimes. Then.
Because they mostly, were A's and B's. But like I said on, your appreciation show for the women in your life, my academic career was changed by my third grade teacher, Shirley Ann Price.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Because her hand stayed on my butt so much, it looked like part of my anatomy.
So you used to get a lot of spankings at school?
Yes, ma'am. My third grade teacher basically changed my entire academic career. She saw something in me that I didn't see in myself.
Oh, but she impacted you. She had it where you could be where you at today, right?
Yes, ma'am, because that's one of the people that planted one of the biggest seeds in, my life. She whooped me all the way to the honor society, and at Coral Lake Elementary, I became the
Okay, that's
first
awesome.
student in, resource to actually make it to the honor society.
Wow, that's awesome, Terry. That's awesome.
And
I had
at the end of the fifth grade, they said I was doing so well. I no longer needed special resources classes, and that all goes back to, like I tell people, we're all farmers in another person's life. We can plant
mhm,
seeds or we can plant weeds. Seeds are the
that's
positive
true.
things of life and the light of life. Weeds are the negative things of life and the darkness of life. The question is, what are you planting in another person's life? And Shirley Ann Price planted, self-confidence. She planted discipline. She planted staying in your seat in my life. And that's I always tell people, teachers do a lot to impact a person's life. And you
Yes.
are a great teacher. You may not be a teacher in, the classroom or in, a,
That's
university,
what my
but you do
dream is.
accurate
That was
research.
my dream to be a teacher. It was the
That
reason for
dream
that
is a
too. My
reality. Look at your YouTube channel. Look at all of the stuff you put out about, prostate cancer, colon cancer, breast cancer, dealing with, different health challenges such as, the pineapple water, the fruit
Thank
water.
you.
You are a teacher. You're living your actual dream. It's just that your dream didn't, come to fruition
Yeah.
in the traditional sense. Everybody has a dream and it can be expressed in different ways. And your YouTube channel is allowing you to live your dream of being a teacher.
I try. If I don't know
You
something,
don't
I'm not
try,
gonna put
you
it out.
succeed.
If I don't know that, I don't put it out. That's why I ask for other people's opinions and see how they feel about it. I think one of my biggest influence for me was she was my teacher. I hope I don't cry, but she was like my godmother. She really helped me with a little job. I used to be like, I was just like I was her daughter, and she was my reading teacher too. And she taught me a lot of things. She gave me my first job. And, I would work at her house, and she had all types of books there. She was also a piano player, and I think about the impact she had on my life. And when she died, it really did hurt me. And I used to be going shopping with her. She would always there was see, I'm the only girl in my family, and I have 5 brothers. And she saw what my mama was doing. She always would buy my Easter dress for me. Every year she would get me an Easter dress. She always would tell my mom, "You ain't got to worry about getting Amy dressed." You know that my real name. And people know now, but it doesn't matter. But she always would
Yeah.
say she would go get my hair done. Like if I needed it. When I can remember one time she got, back then we was wearing curly kid. You remember those curly kid? The Jerry curl, what they call it, curly kid. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You know, with the spray. You know what I'm
They
talking
talking
about.
about the activated and all that stuff.
Yeah. I remember she took me to get my hair done and stuff. Like when I got older, she was making sure I get my hair done. She just paved the way for me to be able to realize, she saw what my mom was doing, but she was there to help out. And you don't get, hey, Miss Lady T, hey, Buddha, what's going on? You come up here. I'm talking about what impact did Black history have on our culture. Anybody else want to come up? And if anybody want to get some Black history shirts, I have these shirts here. I designed these shirts. I have these available. And I think about the impact my reading teacher, Mrs. Bella, had on me. And they was like, she didn't tuck you from your mama, ain't she? I said, dog, she was my godmother. And I don't care, whenever we went to the mall, she always took me with her. So my teacher influenced me, and she I got out of school. She gave me when I got out of school. She helped influence me to want to further my education and stuff like that. So if you can think about some people in the chat, if you're in the chat, who influenced y'all as coming up? Like, was it a teacher? Like me and Terry both have said, and then my parents, my mom and dad too. In the chat, who both gave y'all the most influence? Because you seen what they had to go through, and it influenced you to even push even harder. That's what the question in the chat. I'm going to put it in the chat. So Terry, you did say your teacher. Was there anybody else that made an impact on your life that gave you
Laura Mae Mitchell? Like I said, the appreciation, the women's appreciation you did. Laura Mae Mitchell, the mother at my home church, St. Mary Missionary Baptist Church in Nesbit, Mississippi. She always encouraged me, I had trouble, praying in front of other people. She allowed me to practice prayer in, choir rehearsal. Because outside of my parents, those were two of the most, impactful ladies in my life. Because Laura Mae, treated me just like I was one of her children when I was going through, when I was going through depression.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, that's good.
And I always tell people that's basically my second mother, Laura Mae Mitchell of the St. Mary Missionary Baptist Church in Nesbit, Mississippi, my home church.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I look at my mom and I salute her for being, like I said, my dad, he was also in my life, but my mom was there. They weren't together. And I look at how she used to have to, back then, how things were. We had to move a lot till she got where we were in a place where we were able to set home. Back then, how prices, they were high back in the 80s like they is now. But my mom, she's one of my biggest ones to influence me to want to be better for my children. And when my children got grown, I see how my daughter is doing her children. I see my son don't have any kids yet, but I see the impact that he have on my grandkids. And, all these things we have to think about. We learn all these things from people that paved the way, our moms, our teachers, and stuff like that. So.
But I can't forget my father and daddy, Reuben Jones. That's one of the reasons I take education in reading and writing so seriously. Because he always told his kids, never be a fool. He'll constantly say that, never be a fool and go get an education. Because I saw how the opportunities he had in life were limited by the fact that he couldn't read, but he had a lot of common sense, and he drilled into me, be a man, Don't be just, a sperm donor going out there popping babies out and don't take care of them.
That's true. That is so. That is the question. Did you all? I don't know who in the chat, but did you all have someone that have an impact on your life? It can be your mom, someone like a teacher. That's what we're talking about today. Our history. Someone that made sure. Look, you need this. You need to go. Was pushing you. Go forward. Don't stop. Don't give up. Keep going. And it
Yeah,
could be
cause
someone in your
yeah, cause
family.
yeah, cause my daddy made sure that anything when it came to education in the house, he'll one thing is go get it, like pencils, pens, you know, coloring pencils, folders. He kept that type of stuff in the house, so that way we wouldn't have an excuse we couldn't do an assignment.
Mhm.
Because that's one of the things I always keep for my nieces and nephews at home is school supplies because
Yeah,
because I never wanted a person to get a bad grade because they didn't have their supplies to
yeah,
do the actual assignment, and that's something my mother and father constantly kept around with school supplies.
yeah. You always gonna need them. Cause the school don't give you nothing. They don't give you nothing. If anything, they send a list home for you to go get. They want you to get Kleenex, soap, different stuff like that,
Yeah.
pencils and papers, and they don't get them kids in there now. I'm just being honest. Hey, Miss QT, how you doing? We're just talking about a little Black history over here. You doing okay?
Yeah.
And my question right here was, did you all have someone that have an impact on your life? I mean, about children over here. Who impact y'all? And was y'all don't have my granddaughter. Am I a good impact on y'all? They say yes. They don't want to be on camera, but that my grandkids said I'm a good impact on them. Look at my baby. Even my grandbaby, like, hey, what you saying, bud? And like you said, Terry, you make sure that your nieces and nephew have the things they need to go to school. They can say, my uncle, I don't know what they call you. But they say he makes sure we have, I try to make sure my grandkids have it. Ain't that right? Yay or nay?
Yeah, man. Cause
I'm
I
trying to
always tell
find
people,
grandchildren.
I always tell people, I'm not the father, but I am the daddy.
That's right. Come now, boo.
But I am
Come on,
the
baby. Here.
daddy.
Tell
Yeah.
me. Tell them what you know about Black history. I've been talking about Black history at school today. Y'all been talking about Black history. Who y'all been talking about Martin Luther King?
Oh yeah, when it was his birthday, when it finna be his birthday.
Y'all talking about his birthday? What else y'all been talking about? Anything else y'all been talking about?
We been talking about.
Do you think grandma is a good impact? Do you think grandma helped you out in a lot of ways? Okay. What grandma makes sure you have what? Things you need? And if I can't get it, what I say? I don't have it, right? That's
We
right.
don't have no money.
Well, give me some. Okay, bye. Look, she being honest. If I say I ain't got it, I don't got it. That's just the truth. That's just the truth. But the reason I ask her that because you have to teach those children. You have to teach them as they small about things that you can do for them and what you can't do for them. You can't get those $100 pair of shoes. Don't put yourself in that position where you can't get them. Get them what you can get. Because like I said, I think about those people that walk those highways out there, that paved roads. Some of them, I don't know if they were name brand shoes or what. They wore what they could. They was out there marching and had those picket signs. So we think about those things that have influenced us, and that's make us go even harder. That make us go in and I'm lying, y'all. Now y'all want to talk. When we look at our ancestors and the things they fought and walked and protest and for our rights, make sure that we get the education we need, different things like that. You know, like now when I was going to when I went to trade school, I was able to get like a little grant to help me out, but you know, tuition is high. Tuition is high. If you're trying to go to school, that's why a lot of people doing it online, but you still got to pay certain fees, right? When you do stuff online, but then they do a lot of things free online. So when you said you had went to college, right? But was you able to attend, or you was attending when you had your accident when that truck hit you? Had you
I
already
was actually
started?
attending Vanna Rock Career College, which is now closed. So that was back in November 7th, 2010.
Mm-hmm. So you
Because
was
I was
able to
going to,
attend some classes.
because I was actually going to the actual campus, right off of Mill Branch Road in Memphis, Tennessee.
Mm. Okay. What was your major?
It was actually, computer repair and website development.
That's why you know a lot about the computers. I see how you like talk about like the software and different stuff like that. So you know a lot about computers and stuff.
Yes, ma'am. I know Unix, Linux, Windows, and the Mac OS.
Oh, okay, that's good. I know there's a lot of people going taking a what they call it, computer science. That's what you was doing, something like that.
No, ma'am. It was actually computer repair and website
Oh, trying to
development.
repair the computers. So you work on computers now? Do you help people in that
Yes,
way?
ma'am.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
that's good. That's a good thing to do. Cause I had to figure out what was going on with my computer. I think they had to go in. I think they were saying something about my board. They had to go in and change the desk thing, whatever they call that.
The
I don't know what
motherboard,
happened.
yeah.
They had to change my whole board. Because every time I would try, I believe my granddaughter, that one that was just left. That's why I said, I don't know my computer. I think I saw one day like mashing the buttons, and some of my buttons was getting stuck. That's why I had to, I said, oh, y'all can't play with my computer. And every time I would try to turn the power on, it wasn't power on. But let me ask you a question, like, I try to go live through YouTube Live, but my sound is not coming in. What do you think that is, my phone? It might be my phone, and because I tried to
You
test it.
might not have the permission set for the web browser to actually access the microphone through YouTube Live. So
I
you got to
look,
check
I'm
the
gonna look again.
permissions for your web browser.
I'm gonna look again because I used to go through YouTube Live. I was trying to go through it a while ago, and I did a little test live, and it still can't hear me. But I can do it on my computer, but I can't do it on my phone. Maybe I
You got to
go
make
back to
sure
the
that you give the actual actual YouTube Live. You make sure you give it permissions to use your camera and your microphone on your phone.
I have to check it out again. But yeah, that's what I was talking about today. Just how Black history has impacted our lives, and it's a lot to be thankful for. That how we let our ancestors and the people that in history, Black history, paved the way for us. And like I said, so what is one now? If you was in office, I don't know who in my chat. If you was in office, what would be one of the things that you would want to change if you was
The voting rights, to make sure it's an actual law and not just a right. It's an actual law.
Okay. How you doing, McKinsey? Excuse me. Give me a little swallow.
Yeah.
So you would want the voting. Ooh, I thought I went the wrong pipe, man.
Yeah, right.
Got the wrong pipe. Wait a minute, y'all can talk. Terry, you know what we talking about. Let her know what we talking about.
Yeah, because we were talking about people who had a positive impact in your life, and we were
Mm.
also talking about, the impact of, Black history on your individual life.
Mm-hmm.
Because it had a positive impact. That's the reason I take voting so seriously. Because if you want to make $1 million, there's four ways to do it: business, law, government, and education. Business is going out there and creating a product or giving a service. Law is knowing the regulations about how to operate your business and be legit. Then you got government. Those are the people who help make the law. So if you know how to make the law, you know how to break the law. And that's the reason a lot of businesses put people in, Congress. They want to make the
Mm-hmm.
laws most favorable so their business can make the most money possible. And education is that's where you're
Thank
going
you.
to college,
Okay.
like you have a lot of basketball players and football players. They have to
Mm-hmm.
go to college in order to be seen by the pros. If they don't get good grades in the classroom, they're gonna be ineligible to be on the field.
Yes, that's what we talking about today, Miss QT. We got Miss QT in the building. Fugal Mama said hello down there. Good to see you.
Hey,
How
Yes,
you
Fuka
been?
Mama.
business, but primarily it's through education.
Yes. I was just sharing some things about
Yeah.
Black history, about the way it
Yeah.
have impacted our lives. I was talking about, I don't know if you're familiar with Rosa Parks. Did you know what she did and things like that? I was saying, did you know when she refused to uh, get out her seat, she paved the way for us all to let us know, look, we have the right now to sit where we want, go where we want. But back then it was segregated. Black was on one side, white was on one side. And she chose not to move. I was just talking about the impact that she had, Martin Luther King, just a little history. So are you familiar with any of those things?
Mm-hmm. I'm Black, so yeah.
So are you did you know that what Rosa Parks, when she refused to move out her seat, and I was asking a question.
Yeah,
If you was like,
I hope we know because we went to school for it to learn. So yeah.
yeah, no, I said we was taught all this. See, it's Black History Month, so I'm just
Yeah, because
I
that's our
try to bring
culture.
to
Yeah.
yeah, I try to bring things from my channel to
Mm-hmm.
just more education for me because when we was in school, we weren't half of us weren't paying attention in history class. Were you paying attention? Tell the truth. I bet you would.
I was.
I bet you would. I bet that teacher be saying, Tiffany,
Mm-mm.
Tiffany. She probably put you in the back of the class. You were
Mm-mm.
was you a class clown?
No, I was paying attention. I also was a teacher pet in
I have
school.
to admit, some days I tell you that history class wasn't no joke. But
Mm-hmm.
if you sit back and think about some of the stuff the old teacher was trying to teach us, we wish we had been listening, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
That's why I made
me.
all honor rolls in school.
Well,
So I
that's
was
good.
listening.
That's right. And that's the thing what we're saying. How that influenced or how that impacted us. You made good grades. Terry said he was
Mm-hmm.
on honor roll. And
Mm-hmm.
then we was talking about, can you name someone? Like I said, it was one of my teachers. She was my godmother. She helped influence me. She helped, make sure
Well, I don't what
or your parents could be someone that influenced you, that keep it
well,
going.
I did well even I'm gonna say this. I was this type of child. I ain't never asked for help. I already
Mm.
want to learn how to do it on my own. So yeah, before I ask for help.
Okay. But was there someone that inspired you? Like it could be your mom or a teacher or someone, like you consider like a role model or something like that. It can be
No,
anybody like
no. I
your
inspired
parents.
my no. Mm-mm.
For real?
Mm-hmm.
So you didn't have nobody to tell you, even if you didn't want to go to school, and they would say, "Oh,
I
you going to
love
school?"
going to school. I
Oh,
love
you
going to
did?
school. I love reading. I love math. I love I ain't hate nothing about school. I love going to school every day.
I
So
was ready for
yeah.
it. I'm gonna tell you my favorite subject. I'm gonna ask y'all both. What was y'all favorite subject? Reading. I think I liked it. Reading and spelling. Social study. It was okay. And
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like math. I'm just gonna tell you. I did
Why?
not like
Because
math.
why? Because the question was hard. The question was hard for you.
I just didn't like math. I just
Mm.
didn't like it.
Well, you
And
had to
like
learn
me,
it because when you get old
yeah,
enough,
I
when you
passed it.
yeah.
I passed it, but it was not my favorite subject. Reading was my favorite subject. What was your favorite subject, Terry?
Reading, history, and math.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah,
Cause
Miss
my
QT.
daddy, cause my daddy was real big on knowing your family ancestry. He was real big on that.
Okay, that's true. It's good to know your history, everybody. It's good
Mhm.
to know your history. When
Well,
I was
yeah,
working,
my favorite was reading, math, and I love home ec. That's my favorite.
okay.
So yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, reading, math, and spelling. Because when I went to trade school, I took up marketing, learning how to do business and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, my godmother, she was a reading teacher, so
Well,
that was one of my favorite
I want
person
to tell
to.
you that when I was going to school or whatever and stuff, they look at me like I was their child, but and stuff like that. But I did not look at them like a mama figure or nothing like that. So yeah.
Okay, right then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's what we was basically talking about. Do you vote? Do you vote?
Who, me?
Yeah, like for president or you.
No, I vote for Jesus. I don't
So
vote
you
for no
don't you don't
president.
vote for you don't vote for like stuff in your
No, I don't vote
community.
for man. I don't vote for no president.
Okay.
But in reality, that yes, I do vote because you do need a president in the White House. But my vote is Jesus Christ, cause cause Sonny president, they be lying.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. That's why I say, I don't do the politics that much, but I do try to vote for what right. And if I feel like,
Mm.
like I said, I was comfortable voting for Biden like when he first ran.
Well,
I don't
he's
know.
still in the White House.
Yeah, I said I don't know who I'm gonna vote for this time.
Well,
Then yeah,
I voted for Joe Biden too, but the thing about it, I think he's still gonna be in the this year.
you think
I think
so?
he's gonna run again. So yeah, cause that what they said. So yeah, cause they don't want no other president. They just want JoJo.
Oh
So
no,
yeah.
he got it's a lot of Trumpers out there. A lot
Well,
of Trumpers.
he went to jail. He got
Hey,
locked up.
welcome in, Mountain of
So yeah.
Inspiration. Welcome in.
Terry,
But
what happened?
what?
Oh, I thought he was frozen.
Thank you. We're just doing some Black history over here. I was just talking about the impact that Black history has on our
Yeah, and she had
culture.
that talk of bringing up Donald Trump. That's a shame. That's a
But
doggone shame.
but good to see you. Good to see you. Tight Troopers, if you want your link drop. But we was able to have our first black president. A lot of people just say that is our history. That is our history. A lot of people didn't like Obama, but it was their choice to put him in office. He stayed there 8 years. He had, he had his policies. He did what he was there to do. Or a lot of people probably don't agree with it, but the thing about
JoJo is a good president. I like JoJo. Joe Biden. He a good president.
yeah, but I said I'm just, no, I was talking about no, I'm not talking about Trump. I was talking about voting. I was asking
She
her,
was talking about Trump. Yeah.
it's black, but no, I'm not talking about Trump. I was talking about I asked her, do she vote? And that's how it came up. We're talking about the way the impact of our history, about there was how people paved the way for us to vote. And I was asking her, and that's how that came up. No, I ain't talking about it. But anyway, I was talking about we had our first black president. That is in our history. That is our history, because we didn't ever think that would never happen. He did 8 years, whether people voted for him or whether they liked him or not.
Who
That
you
is
talking
part of
about,
our
Georgia
history.
girl?
Huh?
Who you talking
Obama.
about?
We had our
Barack
first
Hussein Obama.
Barack Obama. We had our first black president. That is our history.
Oh,
Yeah, that's how he came about.
yeah,
Dude,
she was saying Trump.
I ain't having no conversation about here. Ooh, child, I ain't trying to get in
You
no
know
debate.
Donald Trump your president.
we talk about black history, but they said there's a lot of people with him now. So look, don't come at some people be getting mad about Trump now. We talk about black history today, y'all. Anyway.
Oh my God.
It's good to see you, Mountain Inspiration. I'm gonna ask you a question. How have black history black history have been an impact on you? We're talking about that we had people to pave the way for us to vote. You see about all them people out down there marching up and down that road. They did that for us to where we're at today, where our voices can be heard. We have the opportunity to now to change some things if we can. For instance, if you're living in your hometown, I'm sure they do it over here. They have city councils. They talk about things they want change in the town. If they want to build a grocery store, build a shopping mall, you have the opportunity to vote against that if you think it's not good for your town. Sometimes people can try to suggest things like put a shopping mall in a rural area where they know there's a lot of crime, a lot of traffic. That's what I'm talking about. That people pay the way for us to change some of the laws. See what I'm saying? And if you got children in school, if your children are not being treated well through the school system, you have a right to vote. Vote the board. You can vote people off the board. That's what I'm speaking of. That our people have fought that way for us to be able to, for our voices to be heard.
Well, I want to say back in them with Rosa Parks, Dr. Martin Luther King or whatever. I wasn't born back then, but I have read the books and watched movies of stuff about him, and stuff. So yeah, and then I remember his son was
one of his sons just died.
Oh, for real? What you talking about? His baby boy?
The one named Dexter.
Oh, he died?
Yeah. I think it was a week after his birthday, wasn't it, Terry? Did y'all see what his son had died a couple of weeks ago? Dexter,
Wow.
I think that was his baby son. That was his baby son. I was reading where they said, you know, those children, he left a legacy for his children. That's what we're saying. When people leave
Yeah,
impacts in
but
your life.
it's sad. It's like, to me, it's sad on how he died, Dr. Martin Luther King, cause you know he was like, the way he died. That's sad, cause I wish that I could get a chance to know him personally instead of watching his movies or reading about
Yeah,
him.
he
So
had a big
yeah,
influence. He's one of
yeah.
the biggest influence
Yeah,
in
he
his.
got a place in Atlanta where people go to and look at his pictures and stuff.
Yeah,
So
I
yeah.
told my daughter I want to go there.
Oh, you
I
ain't
want
been
to.
there?
That's what I haven't been down to that museum, but I did go to the Rosa Parks Museum in Montgomery, and
Okay.
now that museum, you know,
That bring you to
I couldn't go
tears.
live there, but I did take a picture because they don't let you take your phones to that museum because
Yeah.
it is
Yeah, that's what
so.
I heard. That was my auntie told me. Mm-hmm.
Now that really moved me, y'all. I mean, if you sit back and see, and that's what I've been reading. I did a video of her the other day about the things that she did. She paid the way for us because she refused to give up her seat. She refused to give that seat up, even though they was telling her she don't need to be up there in the front, but she did not give up. She didn't give
Mm-hmm.
up.
I'm
And
so
you
happy
know,
I
we
was
got some
born
people
back
here
at them time,
following.
cause them. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was asking the question in the chat. They won't do that now. Would you give up your seat for someone if they try to pull that on anybody right now? These folks ain't gonna go for that now.
I ain't
You
gonna
see
give
how
you
they
my
did?
seat. You better me and you no.
See how
I
they
ain't
did down there?
gonna.
You see how they
Mm-mm.
did? And that's what this water right here. This is Montgomery. That the water over there where that brawl was. I was out there on that boat about a couple weeks before that happened. You see what happened down there, them. These people ain't stand and let nobody talk to them in a kind of way or touch them. People they ain't doing that now. They ain't doing that. But we had people that paid this way for us. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we were basically talking about today. So what you been doing today? You been on your channel?
Who you talking to me or
You?
Terry?
What you been doing today?
Oh, just been joining the welder and and going to check on my friend and stuff. That's all.
Okay.
And stuff, trying to because I got to redo I got to take out my hair, and then I'm gonna get it done, and then because I got somewhere to go in March. So yeah.
Okay. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I was just saying, you know, get ready to sum this up in a little bit. It's good to know your history. It's good to know where you come from. It's good to know who stood on the front line for
Well, you
you.
know where I came from? I came from the Cheesecake Factory.
Huh? What did you say?
I said I came from the Cheesecake Factory. That's where I came from.
Cheesecake.
Yeah, I came from the Cheesecake Factory.
Oh no, you came from the day. Oh, I went there for the first time, girl. They got some good stuff there. I went there one year for my birthday. That cake, no, it was good.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a few years ago, that's why I was gonna tell y'all, it's good to know your family tree. You might be standing beside somebody you might be related to, but don't know it. Have y'all ever had been
I
where?
bet not. I got so many cousins. I don't need no more.
But it's best to know who your folks are.
I don't need no
And
more family.
we still
My
trying
family is
to
big.
we still trying to. And I asked my dad, and I asked my dad about his daddy. It was a lady I met a few years ago. And we got to talk. You know how you just being on a job and just talking to somebody and meet somebody?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we might be some kin. Because from some of the things she said about her family, it's the same about my family. So I asked my daddy, I said, did granddaddy have some outside kid? You know, he was just talking like, granddaddy, yeah. Back in the day, folks having children. They was Cause my grandma had 18.
Wow.
Hey, welcome in. My grandma had 18 children. My mama had
Man,
18 sisters and brothers. It was 9 girls and
That's a
9
lot
boys.
of kids.
And you know, back then, I don't know what they went on. That they had no kind of birth control and stuff
That's a
like
lot of
that.
kids, huh, Terry?
And how you doing, Danny? Good to see you. We just over here talking about some Black history.
And we
And I
talking
was
about some
just saying,
kids too. We talking
and
about a little bit of
I was
everything.
just saying that it's good to know your history, good to check your family tree to see who are you related to and where about on that tree you related. I swear, me and that girl, and you know, me and her seemed like we had some of the similar way. Even somebody said, y'all even walk alike. And we still keep in touch, but we still don't know if we related. You know, her granddad was named
Did
about the
y'all take
same
a
thing.
DNA? Did y'all do a
No, we
blood
haven't.
test?
We had said one day we gonna just search our family tree, and I did ask my dad, and I asked my grandma before she passed, did she have any people in that area? And we still, the mystery is still out, but in my heart, I believe we some kin. You know how you just feel like you's kin to people, but that's why I say it's just best to look in your family tree because you never know who you might kin. I might be kin to you, Bitty. I don't know.
No, the devil's a lie.
I might be kin to Terry. I don't know. Right? We don't know
I don't
these
need no
things.
more family.
Good God. Terry, you might be my cousin.
I don't need
You
no
right?
more family. I'm gonna
Terry,
say
you ready to be
God.
my
I don't need
cousin?
more family.
You can't look at me like that, Terry. If I'm supposed to be your cousin,
but I
right?
am your brother in Christ.
Yeah, and I'm your sister in Christ.
Yeah, we are. But what you see what I'm saying though? It's good to know your family tree.
Yeah, because there was
You
one
never
thing my daddy stayed on. Because every time one of his, girls would brought a boyfriend home, they got grilled. Who your folks?
you gotta
They
ask.
got grilled every time. And I'm so glad he put that thought in my mind
Yeah,
because
cause cause
I keep a collection of different obituaries from different funerals, so that way I can show the actual family history of certain people who have died.
Yeah, you never know who you might be related to. Miss April was talking about that the other day on her show. It's good
I'm
to
kin
find
to
your
Tyler
family tree.
Perry.
Oh, you kin to Tyler Perry? Tell her let me borrow some money. Tell your cousin I need some money. You some kin to her for real? For real, Miss
No.
QT.
No,
Huh?
no, I'm
I
not
tell
kidding
her,
on Tyler Perry. But I probably is if I go take a blood test. I don't
yeah.
know.
I mean, he have an impact on people. He helps a lot of people. I have to get that to him. He's one of the ones that have helped a lot of people, gave a lot of people jobs. You know,
Yeah.
I was just looking at some of his documentary and listening, reading some of his. He was homeless. And one thing I can say about people that have been homeless, that been through things like that, they never forget where they come from. He started helping more people. I don't know how a lot of people feel about him, but he have gave a lot of people jobs. You know what I'm
Yeah, he
saying?
did. Yes,
He
he
give
did. Tyler
people
Perry is a blessing.
he give people houses. I was listening at the radio one day. He was like one Christmas. I think he shopped for a lot. He gave a lot of people shopping sprees and stuff like that. See, people like that does impact us.
Yeah, he
It
did it
does
on
impact
I
us.
think it was on Facebook.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot. That's why I had always said if I would have just come into some money, and, I would like go back to my hometown and
Me
do some
me
things
and Miss
for my
Lee,
hometown.
me and Panama City, we were just talking about Tyler Perry and stuff. Cause we were talking about his plays and his
Yeah.
movie that he got on BT Plus. So yeah.
He just got to move out. Or he putting a movie out. I know I see where he got a movie coming up.
He putting them he is putting a movie out on the 23rd of February, and it's gonna be on Netflix. It's with Kelly
Okay.
Rowland.
Yeah, I
And
did see that.
this her first time gonna be in the movie, and I saw the trailer, and she did so good.
Yeah, I seen so he have influenced a lot of people out here in the world.
Yeah,
He have gave a
especially
lot
his
of people
black
jobs.
people.
Yeah. Yeah, now he has
So
some
and
other people, white
yeah,
cats and stuff like
he
that.
do, but he will concentrate on his black people before he moved to the other people.
Yeah. So
So yeah.
we does need to think about the impact that a lot of people have done, like Martin Luther King. Like I said, I did a couple of videos on him. I did video on Rosa Parks, and I did a video on black inventors. We had black people to invent the remote control, the ironing board, the traffic signal. There's a lot of things. You do your research, you'll see it was a lot of people that invented the things that we're using today. That's why we have to give people their flowers, recognize what people have done for us. And that's basically what my show been about today. I will be sharing more videos and content about Black history. I just decided to go live and just share it that way. I think
Yeah,
today
I was surprised when you went live. When I said Georgia going live again. So yeah, let me just hop on her live and see what she's talking about.
I usually try to schedule, but with these kids, I see now sometimes I have to go in between time, like the days I be with them. Like the day they did pretty good. They was in there watching a cartoon, and yeah. But yeah, I've been trying to just put out more inspiration, more education and stuff that I like to do over here. And I want to thank you and Terry for coming over. I appreciate
Oh,
your
Terry
support.
look like he going to sleep.
I'm not going to sleep. You were having a conversation. I was just being respectful.
Oh, that's what you were
Yeah,
doing.
we were just talking about
Yeah.
That was so
look at my
nice.
baby. Look at one of my little
Hey.
co-hosts right now. We were talking about the impact. What do you think Tyler
Oh,
Perry
hey.
have an impact on the world, Terry? What impact you think Tyler Perry? I can't say. I think he have an impact. He helped a lot of
Because
people.
one of the most positive impacts he has on the world is he presents the Bible in a non-church way that gets the Bible to a lot of people who don't attend church by his Medea character. I had a hang up when I first saw Medea thinking about the LGBTQ community, but once I had got past that hang up, I was actually able to see the message he was
Okay.
putting out about family, love, history,
Yeah.
justice, about being equal. And that's what makes Tyler Perry an impact on people's lives because he can take the church and put it on, Front Street and present it in a different way so
Medea is
non-church
really
goers can get
Medea
it.
is a fiction. This is just like a character he played. That's not
Yeah,
him.
Medea is a character.
Yeah,
He it's just a character for him on stage
I
and
get
on the
it.
movie. So
I get
yeah.
it now, but
Oh, so
when you get
you felt
exposed to
a certain
something
way
new.
about that? You felt a certain way because he had on a dress. In other words, that's what you talking about, right?
Yeah, but when you're exposed to something for the first time, it takes
Mhm.
time to get used to it. Once I
Yeah,
was able to see the message behind the presentation, I was cool with it.
yeah.
He's so
Cause
handsome.
yeah, cause that's
Yeah,
just like anything. If you've never been around a Korean, it takes a moment to get adjusted to their culture. If you've never been around a Jew, it takes a minute to get
Well,
adjusted to their culture.
I'm gonna say this about me. It don't take me a long time to see something because I got like a fast brain. Some people got
Just
slow brain. So yeah. But I'm quick to get to understand what people is saying
yeah,
and seeing stuff. So yeah.
yeah. A lot of people No problem. Like you said, you seeing somebody for the first time, and I didn't really know who Tyler Perry was. I started watching his show, but all his show is a message.
Well, yeah,
It's a
especially
message
his
in everything he do.
especially his first play he did. That's and I started watching his first play, and then he did a good job on his first play and his second one. But I like his first play better because that's what his first time doing Medea. So
Yeah,
yeah, and he did a good
yeah.
job, and he been
I think he's impact our culture by, you know, he speak his message through his work, and he have employed a lot of people from Cicely Tyson, you know, like people that careers been over with,
oh yeah, I
like
miss this
like the man from the Cosby Show, the guy that was married to Bill Cosby's daughter. Some people don't even have a chance to do any more
Yeah,
jobs, but he give them those opportunities. See, that's what you have to look at, the impacts. So
it's
name, I'm
called a
ready to wrap this up in a few. Name some more people that y'all think. I know, like I said, we talk about the acting.
he's
Like
so
who
cute.
else? Either one of y'all go say some, name somebody else. Maybe if you could talk about the Hollywood part or the Black History part.
You know, I was watching this show. Well, it ain't no show. I was watching this on TikTok, and I don't know. You know about what's going on with Monique and stuff because Monique
Oh
was
yeah, I saw
and
that.
stuff about
She
her
was on somebody's
brother,
show
about
yesterday,
D.L.
I believe.
Hughley. So
She talked about Oprah Winfrey. Like, let
yeah,
me tell you about Oprah Winfrey. I mean, when her show used to come on, did y'all used to watch her show? Either one of y'all care?
I
Yeah,
did.
she had such a big impact. She was a running joke in the show Married with Children.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, Monique is holding her count. She got to take accountability for her action. Monique won a prodigy from Oprah and Tyler Perry,
Oh, okay.
and her brother D.L. Hughley.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
they
how.
to me I didn't really see the show yesterday.
Yeah,
I just heard about it, but to me, seemed like they
it
trying
was.
to throw
She
each
was
other up
talking
under
about
the
D.L.
bus.
Hughley today. She was talking about her brother today because that's her real brother. So yeah.
The I guess nobody don't know what a person had to go through unless you walked in their shoes. She was just talking
Yeah.
about the way how Hollywood have treated her, but then I heard her say something about Tyler Perry. I gotta really watch it before I can really talk about it. But I know she
Yeah.
have been in some of his movies.
Yeah, she was talking about Taraji. She was talking about her too and the Color Purple and she was just talking about everybody. So
Yeah.
yeah.
You
Basically.
know, they have to look at, I mean, even though they might have issue with Tyler Perry, they might have issue with Oprah Winfrey, but they look at those people help fed, they'll help
Well,
gave them jobs.
the real reason why Monique is mad at Oprah because Oprah had brought up her brother and saying what happened between you and your brother? Why you don't speak to your brother?
Oh, okay. So
So
I gotta go
that's
watch the
what
interview
Oprah
before I
had
can say
brought her
anything
and she
about it.
crossed the line. So yeah.
Oh, okay.
And that's
Well,
why
Oprah,
Monique is mad at Oprah.
I used to watch her show all the time. Oprah, when she did her talk show,
Hmm
she's a pioneer. She's a legend. She does what she does. You know, I guess people gonna have their opinion about her, but
Well, you
I
know,
can
we
remember when I
we
was
looking,
young
we
when she had her
outside looking
show.
in. Well, we outside, we looking, but we really don't know what's going
No, we
on in
don't.
the Hollywood.
So what did
You
you
get what
like
I'm
about
saying?
Terry? What did you like? Did you like to watch her talk show? Terry, that you watched her talk show when she used to come on, like she used to come on every day. She was giving
Yeah,
away families. She
because
was definitely up
because at
there.
one point Oprah Winfrey was considered, the Black Barbara Walters, because when people came on her show, it was considered an honor, and you were considered legit. Cause she ain't have nobody up there, capping and fronting. She had real people on her show, and that's what gave her a real impact in not just the black community, but in society as well. Cause the character Peggy Bundy on the show Married with Children was a huge Oprah Winfrey friend. Was a huge Oprah Winfrey friend. I mean, think about
Oh,
it. How many black people do you know is mentioned constantly in a white show in a positive way?
not too many. Not too many. But I have this have been a great show. I see one of my members is live. If y'all want to go check out DOM, this have been a great show. Like I said,
Yeah,
it's good to know our history. Good to thank people for paving our ways for us. Like I said, I had used Rosa Parks. I had talked about Martin Luther King, Madam C. Walker. She was a entrepreneur. She was one of the richest black women in the world. She paved the way for some of these entrepreneurs now, how to do their business. Like we were saying, there's a lot of black beauty shops, hairdressers. A lot of people out here doing music. We got icons like Michael Jackson. I think he was one of the biggest icons out here. You know, I hear, even though the way he died, like I said, the way they say he died, but he did leave an impact on the world. Now, do y'all think Michael Jackson left an impact on the world?
he left an impact because of the song Rocket Robin. He left an impact with the song Man in the Mirror. Left an
Now,
impact
that's
with
my
Billie
favorite.
Jean. With Billie Jean, yeah.
What you think, Miss Key? You think Michael Jackson had made an impact on the world, Miss QT?
I'm coming.
I said, do you think
What you
Michael
said?
Jackson? Do you think Michael Jackson made an impact on the world?
Well, I can't
I mean,
say
I'm
that
not going.
yet
We
because
don't
his
have to
music
speak on
ain't
his
that
personal
old.
business or what they allege he to be done, but I'm looking at the things that he done music wise and helping people that need help. That's what I look at. What you
Well,
Yeah,
look at?
because he helped boost up.
I
He
can't sit
helped.
here and say that because his music ain't that old. So his music still playing. So yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
because he
still
helped
making
build MTV back in the 80s with his music videos, especially a video him transforming into a car.
on what?
Especially the video where you have Michael Jackson transforming into a car, and the music videos he put out, it helped build MTV.
Oh, okay. Yes, he. I look at his music. I look at the charities that he was helping people. His personal life. You can read about stuff in the papers on television, but nobody know what's going on in people's bedroom and personal lives unless you've been there. I'm looking at the other impact, like he was a producer, he was a writer, he wrote for other people. He like same thing for R. Kelly. He's in prison, but he still did a lot for some artists. He wrote songs for a lot of them. But what these people do in their personal life ain't got nothing to do about the impact that what they have done in their careers. You see what I'm saying? So I can't judge nobody else for what they allege they have done. I just only think about the things that we have seen him do. Him and Michael Jackson both have wrote music. They have helped people. They did charities and things like that. So that's what we're basically talking about: the impact of people that we know have made an impact on the world. So we're gonna go around the circle. Y'all can say y'all last words, and I'm gonna I'm gonna get ready to end this. Like I say, I always shout out my members. Thank y'all for being members. And if I see any of my members live, I will tell y'all, show them some love, go over there and see what they're
Mhm.
doing. I don't know how long she been on, but I know she go live just by every day about the same time. Y'all check her out. She be putting out some positive things over there. So what are some of the last words you would want to round it up and say about the history, Black history? What would you leave with people that don't know their history, and what would you say you would some of the things that you think they should focus on today, Terry?
Yeah, just one thing. I have this eye medicine Pret Forte. It's
Mm.
actually used to regulate the eye pressure in my eye,
That what you were telling
and
me about.
that's something you need to go to the optometrist and actually get your eye pressure checked because I'm
This week
serious
it been doing
about
pretty
that.
good. It been doing pretty good. But yeah, I'm gonna get it checked. I got a checkup coming up.
Yeah, cause see right
Okay,
here,
thank
this is
you.
the actual medicine Pret Forte I use to regulate the eye pressure in my eye because it has to be in a certain range in order for me to see. If it gets too high, it'll lead to glaucoma. If it gets too low, it'll lead to blindness. So I'm serious
Yeah, I know that's something
because
serious. I know.
because when you have high blood pressure, that can cause nerve pressure, and nerve
Mhm.
pressure can affect your actual ocular nerve, which receives the light from your eye. So
Yeah,
seriously, get that checked out.
I am, and thank you for. I know you told me about it, and I know. Thank you for being
Yeah,
concerned. But compared to how it was the other week, it's a whole lot
yeah,
better. But thank you as always.
yeah,
But okay, I'm gonna wrap this up probably in a couple more minutes. I was just saying, what are some
yeah.
of the last words you would want people to know about our history and some things that you think we should be maybe better at today?
Pay
People
attention to
say,
the news today because they're and look at the Voting Rights Acts I was talking about
mhm,
because you must remember an act is only for a certain period of time. A
yeah,
law is permanently enshrined into law unless overturned by another law because you had changes in the Supreme Court, and
mhm.
you're having older Supreme Court justices getting ready to retire. So there's going to be a big impact when it comes to the voting rights availability to African Americans and other minorities because
Yeah,
who we elect as president impacts the Supreme Court. The
that's
Supreme
right.
Court judges the law, and we have to make sure that we don't look at just one particular election. We have to look at the whole thing as
Absolutely.
a whole. Remember the show Mighty Morphin Power Rangers when they called on the Zords? They had 5 individual Zords. They came together and made a bigger Zord called a Megazord. So we have to be
Okay.
unified. Unified. That's
Yes,
the reason other
unity,
races
unity.
get so much done. They're unified while we're sitting here want everybody to be the chief, but nobody wants to be the Indian. There has to be
That's
some
true.
Indians in order for things to get done, because even Jesus himself couldn't do everything on earth. That's why he created the office of a deacon. So we have to remain vigilant. I say it like this: those historical figures you name laid the foundation of our civil rights. It's
Yeah,
up to it's up to us to enforce our civil rights and make sure that our civil rights are permanent and not something that's like a dog on a leash. They can
that's
pull it
true.
back and change what leash they put on our rights.
Absolutely. That is so true. And thank you for sharing that, because it's important. Our voting rights are important. We've seen the people that paved that way for us. Let's continue to do what's right. You know, if like you say, unity is very important. It take a collective group to vote people out. It take a collective group to vote people in. And like you said, our voting rights are not. It's not like it's permanent. That every
It
year
is
or
not enshrined in the Constitution. It's an act. Remember, an
it's an
act
act.
has a sunset date. A act must be renewed after the sunset date. They call that the sunrise date. So,
Yeah.
our voting rights are not enshrined in the Constitution. They're enshrined
Yeah.
in
Yeah, yeah, right
actual
here, right here.
temporary laws.
Taking,
Uh,
oh,
It's it's enshrined in temporary laws which undergird the Constitution. So we have to pay attention when it's
yeah.
renewed. Is it renewed in the same form? Because remember the Chinese proverb, death by a thousand blows?
Welcome. Are you
They can
new?
strip us, but strip us slowly.
Yes, that's true. Everything you have said is true. How you doing, Bling Bar and More? Are you new?
Yeah.
Welcome. We were just talking about the impact of our Black history, the impact it has on us. We are talking about voting rights. We are talking about how people have paved the way for us, like Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King. We talked about Tyler Perry, what he done for the industry, helping people like that was thought they didn't have a job. He can help people the job, even though a lot of people probably didn't understand his character of being a deal, but it was a message behind everything he did. We talked about Oprah. We talked about a lot of the civil rights people that um did the civil right for us to vote, that was out there on the front line for us. And we need to think about our history. We need to talk to your children about their history. Let them know who paved the way. Your moms, my dad, my grandparents. They was out there in those fields picking cotton. They did all those things we didn't have to do. We didn't have to go out there in that field in the hot sun picking cotton off those bushes. It was where they had to do it to get it where we're at today, that we can say we have came a long way. Things have got better, but there are still a ways to go. So we think about all the things that our parents, some of those civil rights leaders had to do to get where get those voting rights. You know, that I think that's important to me because your voice needs to be heard. So don't take not knowing your history, don't take it lightly. It's best to know your history and not knowing it. And over here on
And
my
you also
channel,
need to know who wrote the history book.
yes, yes.
Know who wrote the history book. Because do you remember the character Michael Evans? And
Mm-hmm.
remember what Florida told him? You wouldn't have read the white, you wouldn't have read the Black history book if you didn't see something missing in the white history book. And that basically stayed with me because you never would have saw something right if you didn't see something wrong first.
Yes,
Because
yes,
Florida said it to Michael. If you didn't read the white history book and saw something wrong, you never would have went to the Black history book. So sometimes seeing a wrong can guide you to something right.
amen. Um, she said, I remember when I first heard about that years ago that people are the only U.S. citizen that have to have congressional vote in order for us to continue voting. You see the statement she said right here? Can you read it? I remember when I first
Yes,
heard
ma'am.
about it years ago that my people are the only U.S. citizens that have to have a congressional vote in order for us to continue voting.
That's what
I
I
can
was
see
talking
it.
about. That's
Thank you.
she hit the
Thanks
nail
for
dead
sharing
on the
that.
head. You hit the nail dead on the head.
And that is true. They have to get with all the Congress and the leaders, the president, all them to make sure that our vote be heard. When Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, all of them went out there on that paved road, stopping and toting those signs, fighting for our rights. And so we should give those people their flowers. They was out there. They was out there. Power
But
on
we
our
still have to fight today.
yeah.
Don't think just because as the enemy changed his tactics, we still have to fight because when they renew those particular laws, they can make changes in the renewal. Because
Yeah.
like in the South, recently they took off several different restrictions they had on southern states when they recently renewed those two civil rights acts. So we
Mhm.
gotta watch because they came, restrict us, but not all at once. They do it by bits and pieces. So we have to pay attention.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we do. We got to know what's going on. Okay. She said, I wonder what it would take to get us to vote without stipulations. You wonder what it would take? Unity. Unity goes a long way. Unity goes a long way. If you voting, people need to know more about what their voting is, how important it is. You can vote people out of office. You read what she said. I wonder what it take to get us to vote without the stimulation. It take a collective group of people to get together. You can fight together. You can fight together. If something going on in I don't know where you live, but if there's something in your hometown that is not right, you can vote that mayor out, vote that governor out. Your vote should matter. We should matter. We all should matter. See that, like I say, our ancestors paved that way for us, but we can speak up. Like I said, when Rosa Parks sat on that bus, she know what them people were trying to do, but she
Yeah.
refused to move. She refused to give up her seat, and she had that right. But the other black people was on the bus. They went on to let the white people sit down. She said no. She was charged. She was fingerprint. It's in the history books. I did a video on it the other day. She got a record of showing where she was arrested because she refused to give up her seat. That is history, y'all. It's in the history books. Know your history. Know what that
Yeah.
stand. Know why she did it. Know why she did what she did to pave the way for we can do the things we're doing today. You know what I'm saying? So I salute Miss Park. She deserved all of her flowers. And when we went to that museum, they reenacted the whole scene. And it was just amazing how they did it. They had a lady playing Rosa Parks. They had a bus. They had people sitting on it, but they reenacted the whole scene. How they was all in her face, calling her names, telling her to get up, but she stood her ground. And that's what it's going to take in order for things to change in our community, our state, our Congress. We got to be able to stand the ground, stand those, know your laws. You got to know your laws. If somebody being mistreated in the justice system, like I had a police officer in my chat earlier. I wanted him to come up here. He was the captain of the police in Cincinnati. I think that's what it was. I wanted to get his opinion because he was just saying, things about how helping with the kids. We seeing this gun violence going on. They need to make better laws. They need to make better laws for gun violence. There's some laws they need to change. Some of those laws they got for people defending themselves, they want to send you to prison for 30 and 40 years for that, for defending yourself. So I'm saying there are some laws they can change, but it gonna take votes. It gonna take votes to do that. It ain't no white man vote. It ain't no black man vote. It's a vote that needs to be done. So, like I said, this was for educational, entertainment purposes only. Anything I have shared today, I hope that y'all like the show. Hope you got something out of it. This is what my channel is about. I try to read and put out information, whether it's from my body, my mind, my soul. This right here is just like for education. This is something that if you didn't know, maybe you'll find out today. I'm sure everybody know what Rosa Parks stood for. Everybody know Martin Luther King had a dream. And we just name out a couple of celebrities like Oprah, Tyler Perry, some of the things that they have impact on the world. We was spoke on the first black president. I mean, when the man got voted, when Obama got voted in, Terry, I cried. You know the reason I cried? Did you ever thought it would have been a black president? Terry, you still on?
No, yeah, I got to get ready to go.
Okay, yeah, I'm finna run, but I was just rounding it up. But I thank you for coming on, because I'm ready to wrap this up in a few minutes. Thank you for coming on, and I appreciate you so much. And I'll be seeing you. I probably see you on the VOM. I'm gonna go there, probably holler at her. I'm finna get ready to go, but I'm gonna wrap this up. I was just doing my last segment. I appreciate you, Terry. You know you my guy over here. You keep doing what you're doing, okay? Thanks for joining me. But yeah, like I said,
What?
All right, Terry.
I just couldn't drop a call. I had to be respectful.
Okay.
Just couldn't drop a call.
Bye-bye. Have a good day, okay? But anyway, you guys, like I said, to sum up my show. Okay, please come back. I'm finna go over here and check out your channel. Oh, man, you already connected. Okay, I'm gonna go over there and get back connected. But you know, sometimes you haven't seen a person in a while. But I'm gonna go back and see what you got going on over there. And thank you for stopping by. And over here, you know, I do wellness, entertainment. I talk about life. I talk about my own struggles. I talk about the things that I have overcome and things that I'm still praying for. You know, I'm not a person to judge no one for whatever they have been through, because we all go through something. And I've been sharing some things on Black history. So today I decided to do a live show. I've been putting out a couple of videos. Y'all tune in and watch some of those videos. I'm doing the lemon water challenge, because our lemon water is healthy. Like I said, but to sum up my show today, know your history. Know your history. Know the things that people has put out that impact for us. You know, like I said, thank you. We never thought we would have a black president. Like I said, I had the opportunity to go to Washington. I went to Washington. My son's class was there when they did the inauguration for President Obama. I will never forget. We walked down those streets. We had to walk in the parade. That's when I had my good hip then. That was like in 2000 when I was president, when his first term. My son's school took his class. What grade Junior was in? 6th grade? He was in 6th grade. Y'all know what grade Junior was in? We went to inauguration. Was it 6th grade? I think my son was in the 6th grade. Yeah, he was in the 6th grade, and his class had passed the I think the milestone test or something like that. And so they awarded those kids a trip to see the first black president inauguration. I did have some pictures. I gotta go. I think it's on my YouTube channel, on my Facebook page somewhere. But I was so happy that we was able to go to Washington. That was my first time going to Washington, D.C. And I tell you one thing, y'all, what I said was cold up there. Ooh, Lord. It was so cold. It was cold up there in Washington, D.C. We had to have hand warmers and everything. They was giving us hand warmers to put inside our gloves. But if you had seen the number of children, the number of people that was out there to see that, I mean, we witnessed the first Black president. We saw him walk down the street. We saw him and he was in a car. I was like, ooh, I was right there at the gate, right? You know how they had the fence around the parade. I was right there. We was standing there and tell y'all one thing. He was protected. I know he was protected by God, and he was protected with those security guards. They had guards all on top of the building, guards all on the side where the parade was. And my son, my son, he big now. The one we call Emo, the one entertainer. He dropped his phone. And you all been seeing how fast those security guards turned around. Thought they were going to get my boy. Thought they were going to get my baby. They thought there was somebody else going on, but he dropped his phone on the ground. But them security guards, them bodyguard, it was just like that. It was just like that. But that was our experience. That's my history. That's what my history. I was able to attend President Obama inauguration parade. Me and my son and my husband, we went. We stayed for I think we were gone 2 or 3 days. We witnessed the swearing and everything. I thought they were gonna get my baby. Them God, look, they had they had them things in their ears. You know how them security guards, you know, them secret service people. But they had the guards on top of the building. You know, they had their weapons with them now. And you know, back then we had the little phones. The phones weren't as fancy as they are now, but back then we had the little flip phones or whatever. And my son, he was trying to take pictures and he dropped the phone on the ground and they just picked it up. But what I'm saying was we was able to witness history. We was able to witness history. I did vote him in. You know, like I said, a lot of people didn't like President Obama, our former first Black. A lot of people didn't like him, but you know, he served 8 years. So it was something they did like about it. So that is history. That is history. And he did put an impact. He did do an impact on the world. Tell everybody, hey.
Hey.
This my baby right here. Hey, Mom.
Hey, Junior.
Hey, Junior, that Mark.
I mean, hey, Marvin. Marvin.
Tell everybody, hey.
Hey.
Did you hear me talk about Black history a while ago? They're one of mine. But I'm about to and I hope everybody enjoyed the show. I will continue to keep putting out this positivity. I want to thank Minister Terry, for coming up. I want to thank Miss QT in the building. I want to thank her for coming up. And I would like to thank the people that was in the chat. I know history. A lot of people don't like history. You know, they really went to school. You know, when you was at school, you had to take them tests on the World War and all that stuff. History wasn't now one of my favorite subjects, but it was helpful. It helped me on some of the things I know today, and I'm glad that we're able to do our own research and do these things to help our children. Let our children know your history. That's why I say good to know your kin people, because a lot of our kids don't know who they're related to. You could be standing beside your relative and don't even know it. That's why it's good to let them know what's going on. Let everybody know what's going on out in the world. I try to teach mine the best way I can about a lot of the history. Everybody know Martin Luther King, but a lot of them don't know what he really stood for and what did he do and how his life was taken. Yeah. But you have to educate yourself more and more. What did he stand for? Why did he say he had a dream? Are we living the dream today? Like I got a little thing, dream, but stay woke. What that mean? Dream, but stay woke. That means pay attention. Notice what's going on around you. If you know somebody ain't treating you right, you have the opportunity. You don't have to be around them. You don't have to be treated, be mistreated. You don't have to stick around. Let them go their way. Say, stay woke. Find out what's going on in your community. If things need to be changed, that's what you vote for. They ain't doing the job, vote them out. That's what they call city hall. That's what they call city council. If your children are not being treated right at school, that's what we have board education for. They vote people on board education. You know, the school always saying the children need this, the children need that. And I always be saying, what they give them? Let's appreciate our teachers. Let's appreciate our nurses. I appreciate my nurse over there. Look at her. I got my own nurse here, y'all. Sometimes when I be going through my things about my problem, my health issues, and things like that the other week when my blood pressure was up, my daughter had already told me, "That's what's wrong with you, Mom. Your blood pressure up." My eye was red. I ain't even had to get exam. My daughter already knew it because she's working in that field. She worked out there on that front line. When that COVID was going on, my daughter was on the front line, y'all. We was at home and they had us at home. We couldn't go nowhere, but my daughter had to go to work. So I salute them nurses for being out there on that front line. Appreciate our nurses, y'all. Appreciate those teachers. Appreciate your family. I appreciate you, T. They're my baby. I appreciate you. Yeah. Because she did. One time she wanted, did you go out of town? Or you want to go out of town? You didn't go out of town, did you? She wanted to go out of state. That's just how dedicated my daughter was, y'all. She was so dedicated. She was like, Mom, I think I'm going to go out of state and help with the COVID people, help nurse for the COVID. I said, you going out of state? She was willing because that was her job. But somebody had to influence her. Somebody made an impact on her to be able to become a nurse. So we have to look at who have impacted us the most. I always wonder, I like, T, how did you even get in the nursing field? I'm going to interview my daughter one day, y'all. I'm going to ask her, how did you get in the nursing, T? She's shy, y'all. But I'm going to interview my daughter. I had already interviewed my son. My daughter, she real shy. But she be on that TikTok and stuff. But anyway, you guys, I think this have been a good show. I see one of my members live. Y'all want to go to her channel, y'all can. I don't know how long she's been on, but she does her live about the same time every day. I usually do premieres on Thursday, but I said I had a little time, and I've been doing this on Black History. I said, well, I was able to pop up today, and so I hope everybody got something out of this live. The main thing I want you to know how Black history had impact our culture. And if anything that you can do better in your community to make things better, do it. Do it. If anything that you can do to help with Congress. No, like I was saying, it's a lot of women in Congress now. Like that song said, we rule the world. There's a lot of women out there wearing that helmet, y'all. It's a lot of women independent out there. A lot of independent women out there. It ain't like it used to be. It ain't like you gotta wait on the man to make the decision for you. We have women that have paved the way for us to make those. We can make our own decisions. We can make our own decisions. If you know something ain't right for you, don't do it. Be your own voice. And if you haven't got anything out this show today, just never forget where you came from. Never forget who stood out there on that line for you. Those nurses, those teachers. Some, and that's what I wanted to be, was a teacher. I really did. And I wish I could have pursued it further. That's why I'm always reading and educating myself now. And you gotta have patience with kids. I got four grandkids, 3 grandkids, and a great grandbaby. And I'm always trying to help them out in so many ways that I can to be an impact on their lives. See what I'm saying? Be an impact for your children. They say you're supposed to teach them while they're young. Let them know how to respect their elders. And I think that's missing, y'all. I think that's missing with some of our children. A lot of our children don't know how to respect their elders. Some of them still saying, huh. We came up, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. These children saying, huh, what, who? You don't catch that many children being mannered these days. They always told me, if you disrespect the elders, your days will be short. That go with me. I don't care. I'm 55, and I might be an elder to some of the people that come in my chat. Always respect your elders. I don't care if that old lady try to hit you. Don't hit her back. They say you disrespect your elders, your days will be short. My mama taught me that, and it stays with me. And I tell my kid, don't be disobedient. Don't be disobedient, because we'll come out to hunt you. So I thank you, McKim. I'm gonna go to your channel right quick. Yeah, me and you already connected. Yeah, we already connected. Okay. I see you do a lot of different. Oh, you got jewelry. Okay. I'm gonna have to go check some of that out. I deal with spread shop. This is one of my Black History shirts right here. I designed this shirt, I think last year. So if anybody want to check out some Black History things, I got that in spread shop. But I'll put the link in the description, But yes. I'm gonna give y'all flowers for today. I believe so hardly in giving people their flowers. So if you've been in my chat today, this is how I honor my people over here. I honor you by giving you your flowers. I usually, if I'm not doing it, I have my moderators doing it. Okay, sweetie. Okay, thank you. I honor my people over here. I give them their flowers because you deserve your flowers while you're here. That's just the way I was brought up. Recognize people. Give them their flowers, y'all. If you're a YouTube creator and you come to someone's channel, when you give them that thumbs up, that's like giving them their flower. You're showing your support. You're showing their support. These flowers are for everybody that attend my live today. I think I had a couple of new people to come in. I hope y'all come back, join me. Maybe one day you can come up and introduce yourself. God does have YouTubers to come up and tell about their channels and things they got working on. Okay. And that's how I make people moderators, by me connecting with them. After they've been over here a couple of times. I have some moderators. I think everybody either working or like a lot of my people does have their own channel. And I have members over here also. People been in and out today. And I always tell everybody, Take care of you. Take care of you first. When I say take care of your home, if you consider your channel, your home, your business, make sure you take care of that. You can always come over and hang out with me. So I would like to thank the members that did show up today, my moderators that was in here earlier. And if you would like to become a member, if you'd like to just hang out with me for a little while, you're always welcome to come back. On that note, let's see what I got coming up tomorrow. Tomorrow, Friday. I usually talk on Friday. I usually do a let's talk on Friday. We talk about different topics. It all depending on what I got to do tomorrow. But I think I got a premiere coming up. I did some baked chicken. I ain't gonna tell you all that, but you have to see the premiere. Y'all make sure y'all tune in to my Black History Month videos I've been doing this week. I'm gonna put out some more positivity, more wellness. On that note, I enjoyed everyone. Thank you to the one that shared me out. Y'all continue to stay blessed, stay encouraged, and always stay prayed up. And thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Right.